welcome to the very, very, very long delayed episode 4 of a podcast remastered. We are back after, according to YouTube, 5 months because the last episode was in February. So yeah, hopefully we'll have you know uh, not as much of a delay as we previously did. But
Mm,
uh, but yeah, man, how you been? It's
I've been good, man. It's
yeah,
been too long. I'm really pumped to be able to do
yeah,
this again.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
How about you, man?
yeah, pretty much the same. Just been really busy lately.
Yeah.
You know, the usual. But yeah, busy with
Gotcha.
work. Been trying to been trying to finish off games here and there whenever I get the time,
Mm,
and also stream for that matter as well.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. So, anyways, oh yeah, we need to introduce ourselves. I always forget about that. Okay, so my name is JS90. This is my co-host Z's Twitching, and well, I guess if you're watching this for the first time, and have no idea who we are. Well, we're basically primarily PlayStation gamers. I game a lot on PC as well, and yeah, every now and then we like to talk about the games we play, gaming industry, news
hmm
on upcoming games, stuff like that. And every once in a while we do this. We do that in sort of a podcast format here on
Yeah.
Twitch or YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube.
Mm.
So, anyways, let's begin with what we always begin with. What have we been playing for the last few months? So, what have you been playing since
Yeah.
March?
Oh man. So of course, I just gotta get this out of the way. Been playing God of War when that dropped in April.
Hmm.
Uh, I started Persona 5. Really great JRPG. That's one of those games where like you won't really enjoy it or like get the aspect of it unless you've played it yourself.
Mm.
So there's that. But yeah, I've been playing Persona 5, going back and forth between that, GTA. Just been playing Dead by Daylight recently. So that's been awesome, man. Just been playing with that with friends. It's awesome that that was up on PlayStation Plus. And I think those are the main games I've been playing.
Hmm.
Yeah. How about you, man?
For me, I took a while to finish God of War, but I did finally finish it. I think it was
Mm.
like last month or something like that.
Oh, nice.
I played that. What else? I mean, the main multiplayer games that I usually play are GTA 5 and Destiny 2.
Ah,
Destiny
gotcha.
had its Warmind expansion back in, I want to say May, so I was playing that quite a bit. GTA had the After Hours update, which was I think 4 weeks ago now, 3 or 4 weeks ago, one or the other. Anyways, yeah, it had that, which has been a lot of fun. Very unique take on, or not really unique take. I want to say like a unique update. Um, that you know the, that's really a nice callback to, if you were ever a fan of GTA 4's DLC, Ballad of Gay Tony. Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot of cool callbacks to that. Tony himself makes a return as well, and and excuse me, um, and there's been a lot of new DJs and stuff that you can have for your nightclub. All sorts of new missions, things like that. GTA,
Nice.
Rockstar still keeping it fresh 5 years after
Yeah.
the game came out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it is, it's what you'd expect from GTA. A good experience as
Yeah.
always. Destiny 2 has been, like continuously improving since, like, since last year, I would say. They've continuously
Nice.
been making some improvements. Things have been going pretty well, and it's leading up to the new Forsaken update. That is, or Forsaken expansion that's coming out in, I want to say 2 weeks or something like that.
Oh, nice, nice.
Probably about 2 weeks. So that's coming out in, yeah, in about 2 weeks, and I'm, yeah, looking forward to that. But the the thing about that is that I think I'm gonna wait on that. So uh, the reason being, uh, Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs its own separate episode. Like, we're not gonna get into that because I'm gonna be talking for like the next 4 hours if we start getting into that.
Yeah.
So that can that can wait.
That can wait. Yeah.
That can wait a little bit.
All right.
Maybe the next episode we'll see. There's, like, if you haven't seen it, there was a recent gameplay showcase video that Rockstar put out on their YouTube channel. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's it's amazing. That's all I'm gonna say. It's amazing. We'll get into the details in another episode, but
Ra-
it,
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but go back to Destiny. Raven says to save your money. What's your response to
I don't know who this guy is. Who cares? Anyways, anyways,
that?
um, what I want to say is, hang on, what was I talking about? I
You were
lost
talking
my
about the
train of
Red
thought.
Dead 2
Right,
gameplay, and it was
Red
on.
Dead,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Red Dead 2 gameplay. It looks amazing. That's all I'm gonna say for now. There will be more gameplay videos for it coming up in probably the next few weeks. So, maybe we'll have more information at that time whenever we decide to do an episode talking specifically about that. So
All
we're
right.
gonna leave that as is, and
Yeah.
yeah, and in addition to that, other stuff I've been playing, like I've been trying like some random PC games here and there because I have like a 40 games on Steam that I haven't gotten to yet. Like I think it was like last week or the week before I was trying out For Honor because that was free on PC because I played the beta for that and that was quite good. Um, and I've heard the game has made some massive improvements since launch, so need
I
to
heard
get into
decent
that.
things.
Yeah, and just yesterday I started playing LA Noir. I never played it on the PS3. Um, like I got the PC version for it, and I've been having fun with it so far. I Yeah,
Nice.
started playing it yesterday, last night.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
pretty damn good so far.
Will we see any streams?
Maybe we'll see
Yeah.
if I get the
Oh,
time. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah. So that's a very quick overview of what we've been playing for 5 months.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that there's a lot more to come for that because coming up there's quite a few interesting games, and we've gotten a lot of information since E3, which we haven't covered yet, which we will
Oh
be
man,
doing
yeah.
we'll be doing at a later point in this episode. We're going to talk all
Hmm.
about E3, more specifically focusing on Sony as well. But before we get into that, there is a game I want to talk about, and
Yeah.
I think this game has set a new standard for gaming. We talked about this before, and yeah, it was something amazing. Of course, that game
Yeah.
is God of War.
Yeah.
Man, what a game! It was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I didn't expect it to be that good. Like, what about you?
Man, because like it was funny how like you were just saying before we started the podcast, you were saying how like for us when The Last of Us came out and everybody beat it, that was like the new standard, right? And we thought, man, it's like the greatest game right now. Nothing's gonna
Yeah,
beat this, you know.
yeah,
And now like you were just saying like that this is the new standard now. And the game was really I was surprised by Santa Monica because the game really they undersold their game in the sense that they didn't hype it up at all. They're just saying they're gonna make it. They showed off some gameplay. They were never too like not arrogant or cocky, but like they never tried to like boast about their game, you know. And then when the game dropped and you played it, you saw what it was all about. It really it really exceeded expectations for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like PS3, during back on like calling back to what you said, like for Last of Us,
Yeah.
because that was, like it was right at the end of the generation, right? So that's
Mm,
where, like, like Naughty Dog, like a talented studio like Naughty Dog could take, like get the most out of the PS3. And what
yeah.
they brought out with The Last of Us was something that, like, I would say is like, it was ahead of its time. Like it was, meant to be like something that's like a next generation game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Yeah.
that I feel that way for like a lot of the games that usually come out towards the end of a generation, right?
Yeah.
Because another thing is like GTA 5 was like severely limited by the PS3 and the Xbox 360, because
Mm.
like after the new generation consoles came out and they brought GTA over to there, they started adding stuff that I would never imagined that I would ever see in a GTA game, let alone GTA Online, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, like things like the stunt racing and like all these sorts of like free mode based businesses and stuff, which kind of gives it like, sort of this like MMO elements and feel to GTA Online and stuff, which is like,
Yep.
which is something I never imagined I would see, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you can see that it's really, it was just the hardware that was limiting them back then. The PS3 and Xbox 360
Yeah.
hardware. That
Mm.
that that was all, right? It was like, because they were capable of doing like so much more once they brought it over to the new gen consoles and the PC
Yeah.
release, of course, as well, right? So like when we see this sort of new standard that we're talking about for God of War, right? Like you see this towards the end of a generation, right? Which really shows that,
Mm.
we're coming to the end of this generation, because that's when the
Yeah.
developers are able to get the most out of the system, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's get really into God of War. Man, it
All
was
right.
amazing. I think like one of the things that we talked about the last episode that we were really I suppose like not so much concerned, but like I think a lot of other people were concerned because there was this whole controversy of, oh, there's no jump button and all that. Who cares, man? The combat was
Yeah.
amazing. Like you didn't need a jump button or anything like that. You could still like juggle enemies in the air. You can do aerial combos,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. And like it didn't feel slow or anything like that. There was way more variety than any previous God of War. Like,
Mm.
like something I would say is like for a lot of like, see, I only play God of War 3, right? But a lot of the times when I was playing it, right? Like when you play it, right, it feels like it's a game that's more like intended to be like button mashing and stuff, right? Like in
Yeah.
terms of the combos and stuff like that. Whereas like this is not like that, right? Like you have a lot more variety in like the combat in terms of like, you have your regular moves and then you have like the runic attacks. You have the talisman ability. You have Atreus, which he has his own set of runic attacks and things like that, right? So there's just so much variety in the stuff you can do, and not to mention like they added so much, like RPG elements in terms of the armor you have. The armor can have specific effects. Like whether they're tied into your stats or they have like a chance of granting a certain effect based on something that you do, and you can sort of
Yeah.
build your whole play style around that. Like like right now I'm still doing the pulse game stuff, right? And right now like what I've got is like I've got armor that focuses on runic attacks and cooldown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I get the runic attack back really quickly, and the armor's abilities have like I think it's like a chance of heavily reducing the cooldown if you get like a successive hit or a successful
Wow.
hit, right? So stuff like that,
Yeah,
right? So you can kind of build your sort of play style around that, right? And who knows
yeah,
if I'll keep that because I'm still doing the post game stuff. Maybe I'll find something better and I might completely change that, right? But the
yeah,
point is like there's a ton of variety and there's a lot of like replayability, I'd say, right? And
yeah.
speaking of replayability, um, I think on Tuesday, New Game Plus mode is coming out for God of War. Are you gonna be
Yeah, the
playing it?
20th, right?
Yeah, 20th. Are you gonna be playing it?
You know what? I would like to go back and replay God of War, maybe closer to the time when the sequel comes out, and I'd like to play it and give me God of War with New Game Plus.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that's when I'll probably play it.
Yeah, it's the thing is like I'd like to play it, but I think I just want to finish the post game stuff for now because I've got a ton of other stuff I need to play as well. Like I mentioned
Yeah,
before, Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. There's a ton of things I need to finish because once that comes out, like that's going to take up all my time.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so
That should be the last game you get for the
I think it
year.
will be. I don't think I'm getting anything
Yeah,
else after that.
true. True.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, back to God of War. Yeah, well, you have anything to add on combat system? Any particular things that you really enjoyed about it that you want to talk more about?
Uh, I was surprised with the as you said, like coming from a game like I played God of War 3 before moving on over to God of War, and coming from like the whole like button mash, like the like a hack and slash system essentially, then coming to what was what was God of War, a more intricate like intimate combat system. It was kind of like dark like. People argued it was like Dark Souls because
Which is
they're
a very
very
good
patient,
thing,
very
I think.
punishing.
Yeah.
I like that because yeah, it was kind of like one of those games. Like I'm pretty old fashioned, you are too, I'm sure, and like we grew up in a generation where when you play games, it's a matter of like just getting your butt kicked. Learning from your experience, right? So you can like learn the tactics of enemies and what they do, and then
Yeah.
wait like calculating when to strike at the right time. I like how they incorporated that, and then even like the way depending on how you customize um, the way that you customize Atreus and like what combat boosts and abilities you'd like to have like in the field. Like if you wear like
Hmm.
the yellow tunic, I think it's good for like your like for his ability cooldowns. The red one is like more focused for like his melee combat. So it's like as you were saying, like depending on how you want to play, like I found that the game really focused on like especially with the upgrades, the armor, like it catered to how you wanted to play, which I thought that was really cool. Overall, combat was really great, absolutely satisfying. Yeah, got nothing much else to say on that department.
Yeah, you see, that's another thing too, is like before the game came out, I was expecting Atreus to be like useless. But man, he
Oh
he
yeah,
saved the day many times when you
yeah,
actually played it,
yeah,
because a lot of these games where you have like a companion, the companion's usually just an annoyance and like somebody you just have to look after that barely helps you and all, right? And the thing is, like, I felt like Last of Us was like to a certain extent like that. Like, every now and then Ellie would jump in and, do something really cool, right? But,
yeah,
that, didn't happen that often. A lot of the other times they're just kind of standing around, not really
yeah.
doing a whole lot. Like, I remember this when I was playing, I think on Grounded for Last of Us, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, like the section when you're in Bill's town and Bill is with you, right? He has like this shotgun that does a ton of damage, but he never wants to shoot the enemies. Like he always tries to hide,
Yeah,
right? It's so annoying. Like you have to kind of bait the enemies like to getting near him for him to kind of fight them, but oh man, stuff like that is annoying. But obviously it's done for a reason because if your companion is too strong, right, then you're just gonna let the companion do all the work, right? So it has to be, limited and balanced accordingly, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So uh yeah. So yeah, combat system. Yeah, very
Hmm.
good. Very nicely done. And since you mentioned Dark Souls as well, the really nice thing is the button layout on the controller is very much like the Souls games, right? Because before
Yeah.
what we used to have was like square was your light attack and triangle was the heavy. Now it's R1 and R2, right? You can use L1 to block or parry.
Yeah.
I believe it's L2 to for your ranged attack uh, for God of War, and yeah, like the face buttons you use square for Atreus and everything, and all of using that sort of control scheme with this new combat system, it just felt so natural. Like especially if
Hmm.
you're someone that plays um, like Souls games and things like that, right?
Yeah.
It felt like a very natural transition. And yeah, like I think you have the option as well to play with classic controls, like using square and triangle and stuff. But like you should play with the new button layout because it's just way better. Like it gives you like way more freedom to do the things you want. Like the in terms of like the combat, it feels way more like fluid, I would say,
Hmm.
using the new button layout and all compared to the old one. And yeah, it's great, man. God of War has a great new combat system,
Yeah.
but
I kind of went a little like far and beyond. And when I say that, I mean like I've been mashing pretty hard on the buttons and the triggers. So like
mm,
internally, I broke them.
really,
But
you did?
yeah, I learned from that. So
Oh wow. Hey man, sometimes you're really into the game, right? And
yeah, it was
yeah,
that good, man.
it
Like it
was.
really took my attention away
It
from
really
what I was doing.
was.
But yeah, man.
Um, but yeah, what I was about to say was the combat system is not the only thing that's amazing. This game like nails it on so many different areas. Another one
Yeah.
is character development and story. Like, you wanna
Oh yeah,
talk a little bit about that? Kratos
for
and
sure.
Atreus's character development, like individually and in their relationship, the overall story, what it's about.
You know, like the way that the game was like shot and filmed, like when it came to the cutscenes, like it was this technique, like the one shot technique, where like the cutscenes have no cuts between
Hmm.
scenes, right? So it's not like one shot, like it's Kratos talking, and then it cuts to like Atreus's face, and they're talking. Like it was all one seamless in one frame, and it gave that experience. It gave off a real time experience, like you were actually there, and with a really intimately focused story like that was told in God of War about like the bond of like a father and son like relationship, and the way that they like set everything up and like what happens, it was such
Hmm.
an awesome experience. Like the last game that I played that used that technique was MGS5, and although that wasn't really story focused, like I was a huge fan of the whole like one shot and the cutscenes and everything. Like it just everything felt real, and I liked how with that focus and with that being said, like man, the story and like if you've played the other God of War games, if you're if you're a fan of Kratos, you know what he's been through, and you see this new side of him, and like just like there's a lot of moments where like you feel for him, you kind of want to say the words that's coming out of his mouth for him, like they made this game, they made him a lot more relatable instead of him just raging and just yelling. Now kind of like he's more likable and more understandable, so I really like that.
Yeah, the thing is, like, when I played God of War 3, I didn't feel any emotion towards Kratos. I didn't really care. He was just this
Yeah.
angry man that wanted to destroy everything. I'm like, hey, I'm on board. I don't really care about his story or anything like that. It
Yeah.
was all the gameplay. That's what made God of War fun before. But this really, this took a completely different turn in the type of Kratos that we have. We have someone that's like very much more like emotional, and he's a lot more calm, right? Because another thing
Yeah.
is, right, like, if in around the beginning of the game, there's okay, one thing about all the God of War games is that they tend to open with a very big boss fight, like a very like very cinematic, with a lot of set pieces, uh, and a crazy amounts of action and everything. That's a lot of the God of War games always open with that, and this is no different. There's a very very cool boss fight close to the beginning. It's not the very first boss, but it's very close to the beginning. But anyways,
Yeah.
when you get to that point, right? Like you see, you see Kratos. Like what happens is this person that's the boss. Um, punches him, right? And Kratos, you would expect Kratos to like rip his face off, right? But Kratos
Mm,
acts very calmly, right? If you play the game, you'll see what I mean on this, right? But like
yeah.
this is like a whole different Kratos. He acts very calmly. He tries to sort of diffuse the situation and all, and but of course, it's a boss fight. It's still gonna escalate regardless. But you
Yeah.
see a different Kratos, and in addition to that, we also got a new actor for Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different actor than the previous games, and like I would say like most of the time I would think that it's a very bad decision to do that, but
Yeah.
in this case, I thought it was very well done. The new guy that played Kratos, he did an amazing job. He did a really good job in portraying, I would say, the an older, wiser Kratos with that's much more father-like and everything. Like he
Yeah.
he portrayed that like so much better. Like Kratos has so much wisdom and stuff. Like before, before like I
Yeah.
would never say that about Kratos. In the previous games, right? Because yeah, he
Yeah.
just, he just killed everything. Like he didn't care. Like I remember there were like some funny scenes in like God of War 3. Like there's just a regular human. He's like hanging for his life, and just because he's in your way, it makes you press circle to just hit him off of the ledge.
Just
It's
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they had like little things like that, and like you go from that to this Kratos, right? And
Yeah, man.
it is just quite a change, I would say.
Yeah. You know what?
Um,
Like going back to what you were saying about how like normally
mm,
changing your voice actors is a bad idea.
mhm,
The last time I could think, the last like events or game that happened to was MGS5, and they replaced David Hayter, the
mm,
original voice of Snake, and they replaced him with Kiefer Sutherland. And the reason, like Kojima's reason why was because MGS5 was going to be telling a more darker tone story in a more darker atmosphere. So having a voice like just Snake, like it's a very iconic voice, but like how could you take like Snake like in a very
mm.
serious situation like that kind of voice, like it won't work.
Yeah.
Say, and you know what, the exact like the game came out, Kiefer Sutherland did a great job, and like I think the voice grows on you, like you totally like get like it pretty much just grows on you and just makes sense. And same case with God of War, man. Like at first I was like, oh crap, they changed the voice, but I thought, you know what, there's got to be a good reason why. And like I'm glad they did, because like the with the new actor and like with a more realistic voice, he was more likable instead of just him
Mhm.
yelling all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm glad that they went with that approach.
See, okay, when it comes to MGS5, would you have preferred David Hayter to play the role, or are you happier with the the other guy? What's his name?
Oh, happier with Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah. Are you happier with him,
Happier.
or would you have rather they still went with David Hayter after playing through the game?
You know what? Yeah, like I think it was the best decision that they could have made, alongside a
Mm.
lot of other things. But yeah, I would still definitely pick Kiefer over
Oh,
him,
okay.
because there's a lot of dark moments in the game.
Yeah.
So having a voice like that, it would really just you wouldn't be able to
Mm.
take it seriously. You
Okay.
really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So so now let me ask you, for God of War, would you say the same thing? Would you have preferred I don't know his name, the original voice actor, or would you have preferred Christopher Judge to still do it?
Definitely Christopher Judge. But you
Mm.
know what? There is a segment in the game which I won't get into detail of. There was a segment in the game which I guess all I'll say is it just kind of took you a trip back to the past. So it would have been
Ah,
cool if they used the younger, voice.
yeah,
But yeah. But
yeah,
aside from that, like it wasn't a huge deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But
I know what you mean. I think what would have been cool is if like they sort of well, okay, how do I say this without spoiling? I guess like yeah, I would say like in the scenes where they kind of call back to the past God of War games, and you hear Kratos there, if they used the like the original voice for that, I think
Yeah,
I think maybe there is some of that. I can't recall right now, but
yeah,
yeah, I think that would have worked. But yeah, overall, like I like what Christopher Judge did, and
yeah,
it was really well done.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, getting back to character development. Want to talk a bit about that? Kratos and Atreus,
For
like
sure. And
their
like I think for
relationship
me, man, like that was
individually.
I mean, I think for everybody else as well, um well, I'll say this first, like it's very rare to see a game tackle story and gameplay so well. Like going back to The Last of Us, right? The game had an incredible story, but the gameplay wasn't necessarily anything to be head over heels of. You know what I mean? Like it was very basic when you compare it to other very intricate mechanically designed games, because like
Hmm.
Last of Us had a great stealth system, had a like a good crafting system, but everything was just like bare bones basic. Like it was nothing revolutionary. Great mechanics though. But I think what the main focus of The Last of Us was definitely the story. They have a game like
Hmm.
God of War where they take so many mechanics, man. Like your axe and shield have their own skill trees and like their own that's crazy. That's sick. And alongside of like a lot of other additions that they put in. So it's very hard for a game to tackle both aspects. But in this case, God of War, personally, I thought like they really nailed it with the story and like the character development. Like you have Kratos as like just based off of the past games, you have him as like a BA, like God of War. He's the God of War, right? But now he's coming back to this, he in this new life almost. He's wiser, he's more patient, he's more well, I think I said wiser. Yeah, wiser, patient, very disciplined. I think disciplined is the key word.
Hmm.
And having somebody like that, um, pairing with a kid who is literally the opposite, who is trying to learn the ways. It's like you as a player, you're a part of Kratos and you're taking on this journey. You're in the shoes of Kratos and like guiding Atreus and being and disciplining him and guiding him. And I think it was very beautifully well done. I'll say.
Yeah, like a really pivotal point of the story. Well, not pivotal, a very key point of the story, I should say. Is the relationship between the two of them,
Mm,
because they're very different people when they start the game and then when they end the game. Like Kratos is, constantly worried that his son is incapable of, surviving or anything because he
yeah,
thinks he's very immature and impatient and can't control his anger or anything like that, which, a lot of that has to do with being Kratos' son, right? Um,
yeah,
See, like the thing is, like, in this is like very close to the beginning of the game. Like when you after you you defeat a boss, he starts like running towards the boss, like hitting it with his knife after you've killed it and everything. He's
yeah.
like, I'll kill you," and he like just loses it and just passes out. And Kratos is like, "Oh my god, how is this
Yeah.
boy gonna survive?" I think he actually says that. Like he in his thoughts, he's like like he's thinking about his wife, and he's like, "Oh, what should I do about our son?" Like he's actually thinking that to himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not meant to be funny. It's like he's like legitimately concerned and all, right? And he doesn't trust Atreus's judgment or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like later on in the game, right, there's things like Kratos, like he'll look at something and he'll make his own decision about what to do, right? But he actually says, "So, well, what do you think, boy?" He actually says that before they do anything,
Yeah.
right? So you see like the trust and the bond sort of build, and there's scenes where Atreus like is very saddened that his father doesn't trust him enough and um, doesn't want him involved in like everything that he does, right? He feels like he's
Yeah.
left out. He sort of it's sort of him like like sort of talking to his mother and saying that his father doesn't like he thinks like in Atreus's eyes Kratos doesn't care about him, right? Because he doesn't trust him, right?
Yeah.
So there's, a
Mm.
lot of conflict like that. And then Atreus, here's the thing Atreus doesn't know about Kratos's origins or anything like that at this point, right? So
Oh yeah.
later on he finds this out, and then he realizes that he himself is a god as well. And that
Mm,
sort of leads to, a whole, the complete opposite. And you see this reckless Atreus that completely doesn't care about anything, and he just lets his anger get the best of him, and all, and he doesn't care because he's a god. He can do whatever he wants to, which sounds a lot like old Kratos that we know from the previous games, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you have like, and then eventually like this kind of stuff gets dialed down, like once they him and Kratos and Atreus sort of develop their relationship and work on it a bit more, and they begin to trust each other. And like as you get towards the end of the game, you need that trust, right? And
Yeah.
that's how they sort of get things done later on into the game. But that sort of relationship is something that's very special. And like I gotta say, like for me, right, when it comes to like video game characters, right, anything related to like sort of like family and like a parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
like that sort of stuff like is what appeals to me the most when it comes to video game stories, right? It's why I love The
Mm,
Last of Us. It's why I love Red Dead Redemption, right? And God of War now, right? Because like they focus on those types of relationships, and I love seeing that, right? So
yeah.
they do, they did such a fantastic job uh, with God of War when it came
Mm.
to that. And in addition to the characters, do you want to give a little bit of backstory on like what the actual main story of the game is about?
Without giving too much away, it's pretty much like a father and son journey where
Hmm.
Kratos and his son Atreus, they're tasked to complete a mission, and they have to go more well over like out of their way to take care of this. They got to go through different realms and areas and scale mountains and fight enemies to take care of this mission. It's all we could say is we're fulfilling a dying wish for somebody.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like that's the key focus there. Like the key word there is journey,
Hmm.
right? And like when you play a game like the great story, and like after you're done with it, all you can think to yourself is like, wow, like what a journey. Like you didn't want that to end. And I have
Yeah.
to say, man, after finishing God of War, like the last time I genuinely felt that way about a game, uh, just looking at my library, quite honest with you, like I think the last time I truly, truly, truly felt that way about a game was most likely The Witcher 3. Most likely. And
Mm.
that was like 2015. So maybe 4 years after, and then playing a game like God of
Yeah.
War. It just like I've never wanted to play a game so much again. Like
Hmm.
it was so good, man.
Yeah, the whole journey aspect of it, yeah, it's done very well. And if you didn't know, this God of War takes place in the realms of Norse mythology, right? So there's so many like so much variety to the types of
Mm,
environments that you visit, and the enemies and the characters and everything, right? Like you go from like these like fiery filled areas that we're sort of familiar with seeing in God of War games, to you go to like this realm called Alfheim, which is so
yeah.
beautiful. Like
Yeah.
when you go there, it's like uh, in the mythology, it's inhabited by elves, the light elves and the dark elves, and you've never seen enemies and characters and stuff like that in God of War before, right? And yeah, like that realm is just so beautiful. It looks so good, especially if you play on
Yeah.
HDR, man. It looks great. And you know, uh, talk, since I mentioned that, we also need to mention a little bit about the visuals of this game. This is the
Oh,
best looking PS4 game to date.
hands down. Oh
I
yeah.
think
Wait,
so.
hold. Even over Uncharted 4?
Yeah, I think so.
Personally, I'm on the fence with that, man. I hop back and forth.
Wait, wait. have you played God of War in HDR? That's a game changer.
No.
That is a game changer.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It looks so good, man. Like the lighting and like all the vibrant colors and stuff that come out and everything. It looks so good. Um, but that's the
Okay,
thing
I
though.
got
Like
you.
the thing is like Sony Santa Monica have always been really good with the visuals. Like God of War 3 is
Oh yeah.
still, one of the best looking games on PS3, right? Even after
Oh yeah.
Last of Us and stuff came out, it's still like up there, like with
Yeah.
those,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And God of
Yeah.
War 3 came out in when 2009, I think, or 2010,
Oh really?
something like that. It's been a while, right? So, like the visuals are amazing. Best looking game on PS4 at the moment, right?
Wow.
We've still got other games coming out that may surpass it in terms of, the visuals and all this other stuff that we're talking about as well. But this is like easily one of the best PS4 games. Like this game is a reason to buy a PS4 if you don't have it. You know, yeah, it's yeah.
I mean, this is a topic for another day, but I truly
hmm
believe The Last of Us Part Two is gonna knock it out, like in regards to graphics. You think so?
Graphics maybe. The
Yeah.
other stuff, the combat, the story, and all that stuff. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think the last
Yeah.
like I don't think the Last of Us 2 can like overall like I don't think the Last of Us 2 can top God of War. I might be proven wrong
Mm.
whenever Last of Us 2 comes up, but I do think that God of War will still stand as a better game than The Last
Yeah.
of Us. Um, and I have to say there was only one flaw in God of War, and like what that is the variety of bosses. There's a lot of bosses that mechanically play exactly the same as each other. And there's two types of bosses. There's the troll
Yeah.
bosses and the ancients. When you fight the two, they fight exactly the same. I don't know why they did that. It just
Yeah.
makes no sense to me, man. You get like a fire troll, an ice troll, a rock troll, a water troll. Like freaking, they have a troll for every Pokemon element, pretty much in the game. And the same thing with the
Yeah.
ancients, right? Like they do the same attacks. It's just like with a different element. Sometimes they have an AOE effect, but like it's essentially the same. And I don't know why they did that. Now, like don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all the bosses are like that. The bosses that are
Mm.
unique and different are very very well done. Like that,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Like
But you know
all of
what
the
though?
main
Like,
story
not that I.
bosses. Yeah,
Also, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
yeah, like I was just gonna say, like the main story bosses are all different. The ones that directly have something to do
Yeah.
with the story, right? These are the ones I'm talking about that are like more or less the same, or stuff that you find in like side missions, and you find them in the main story as well, right? But they're not
Yeah.
like they don't happen at like a very key moment or something like that. It's just it's just you have like a boss fight in between, something like that.
Yeah.
I would say they're more like mini bosses than actual bosses, but yeah, like they need more variety in that because yeah, that was a little too the thing is it didn't feel repetitive, but I wanted more variety, right? And
Yeah.
I think we'll
But you.
see that like in the future because this will inevitably get a sequel, right? But yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, man. Like in regards to like the variety of the bosses, I get that. Not that I disagree with you, but
hmm
I thought it was because of two things. One, like this is like their first game, and just being like developed, like just kind of like the start of everything. And
Yeah,
Corey Barlog did say Barlog or Balrog. I don't know. I think it's Balrog. I'm
I,
not sure,
I think it's
but
Barlog.
is it?
Yeah,
Let's look this
let's
up on the
let's
side.
let's double check.
Corey Barlog.
Okay, Barlog. There you go.
All right, yeah. So Corey, we all know what we're talking about,
Yeah,
but he said that like the next games are going to be bigger and better. And you know
yeah.
what? Like, sure, maybe the mini bosses weren't, in regards to that, there weren't a whole lot of variety.
hmm
Um, but I mean, with the enemies though, and like in the like different realms, like man, like there was quite a variety. So like
Oh
I get the
yeah,
mini bosses, but like I feel like there was a lot more that they needed to focus on, like more than I feel there's other priorities that to take care of above the mini
yeah,
bosses.
yeah,
But
yeah,
hopefully in God of War 2, like or God of War Part 2,
yeah. Whatever it's
but
gonna
yeah,
be called.
whichever the
Yeah,
sequel,
yeah.
they're gonna focus on that stuff for sure.
Yeah, it's like I just wanted to mention it because it's like really the only flaw in a near perfect game. Like
Yeah,
that, and it's also at 30 frames per second, but I'm not expecting that to run at 60 with like the visual fidelity that the game had. Oh
yeah.
man, it's just incredible. Yeah, if you haven't played God of War, what are you doing with your life? Just drop whatever you're playing. Don't play Fortnite. Drop that garbage
Well,
and
hold
go
on.
play
Well,
go play
EP.
God of War.
Uh, Shout outs to EP. I hate to put him on the spot, but
Hmm.
he's gonna play Horizon.
Oh, okay.
But we're trying to
That's
get him to like as long as it's Horizon, right? Can we? Can
play
we?
both.
Can...
Play both. You gotta play everything. Oh, speaking of that, I think Horizon is on sale on PlayStation Store this week, so I think I'm gonna get it.
Have you
And
played it or like
I
have
haven't.
you? You
No,
haven't.
I have not.
Yeah, you should definitely pick it
Yeah,
up, man. It's a good
yeah.
game.
I'll pick it up and eventually get to it. But
The
yeah,
the year I want to quickly say the year that Horizon came out is like the way that everyone's reacting to God of War now is the same way that everyone reacted to Horizon when that game came
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
but
think
yeah, that was it.
it's different when you hear people talk about it, and it's different when you actually play it. Because I knew like
Yeah,
God of War was gonna be something great, but it was a lot better than what I would predicted. I'd say, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just so well done, man. And like one thing I want to say is like this game has like a lot of like lore and mystery to it, and we can't really get into the details of that without spoiling it for someone
Mm,
that wants to play. But it's one of those games where after you finish it and then you actually look into like the lore of like what actually happened in terms of like comparing it to like within the game, like Kratos's like sort of backstory, like him, Atreus's backstory, and like what actually happens in Norse mythology, right?
yeah.
When you relate all of these things together, and there's like some really crazy fan theories and stuff about stuff that's to happen in the next game, and stuff that's already sort of happened in this game that's sort of like
Mm.
kind of uh, like surrounded by mystery, right? And when you read this stuff, it's just like it's kind of like blows your mind when you look at stuff like that. And I have to say, the last time like I thought about a game like that was probably BioShock Infinite.
In
Yeah,
regards to what specifically, sir?
like in terms of like it just blew my mind when I actually like looked into like what exactly happened in the game and like all the fan theories
Oh,
behind it and
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
reading
yeah.
like the discussions among players, right?
Mm,
Because that's the thing, like that was a game that had like a very convoluted ending, and
yeah.
at the first time you're like, what the hell just happened, right? But then when you actually make sense of it, you're like, whoa, that is an amazing sort of like twist, and like and it makes you like look at the game in a very different way, and
Yeah.
like knowing stuff like this, it makes your second playthrough very different, like knowing like this is what actually happened like in the ending and during other parts of the games and stuff like that. And we're being very generic as much as we can because we don't want to spoil this for anyone,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, like I'll say this, you'll understand what I'm talking about if you actually play the game, and you should play the game if you haven't played it. Really, really good. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of that, God of War is actually also on sale on PlayStation Store this weekend. It's dude, it's like
Is it?
I think on the American PlayStation Store it's like $35 or something, which is
Bro.
really good price, man. Like for Canadian it's probably like 40 something.
Yeah, let's see how much it's on sale for here.
Yeah, there's like it's called the Blockbuster sale or something like that.
Oh yeah. I actually just picked up Killing Floor 2, so look forward to playing that.
You just picked that up? You didn't get it when it was free?
Well, I missed the month.
Oh right, you didn't have Plus for a while, right?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Any,
on sale for well, Canadians $50. I'm sure in the US it's cheaper.
I think it's like 35 in the US, or 40 tops. Yeah, that's an amazing price, man, for that game. Very, very worth every penny that you decide to spend on it.
Yeah,
Highly
yeah,
recommend that if you haven't played it, get it. I can't recommend it enough. It's so good, man.
yeah. This game it's awesome because this game's been on sale a couple of times. Like even like
Hmm.
there's been a couple of summer sales, and this game has definitely made the sales. Not made the sales, but has been on sale. And
Yeah.
speaking of, I was actually very surprised. God of War the past month made over $131 million in just digital revenue in 1 month.
Yeah. And this isn't
That's
this is an
ridiculous.
exclusive as well. You don't see those kind of
Yeah,
numbers from exclusives. It's usually the multiplat games that make a ton of
yeah.
money, right? But yeah, man, it is pretty freaking awesome. And
On
sorry, you
top of
said
that,
this was last month, right?
yeah, last month. Yeah, yeah,
Last month, which is what, I think like 4 months after it came out, or 3 months, I
yeah,
want to say.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's doing numbers even now, which is
I
crazy.
know it's PlayStation's most fastest selling exclusive. I think fastest or I think I know. Yeah, most definitely fastest, not most sold, but the
Yeah,
fastest.
the fastest, yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, God of War has always been one of their most successful franchises. I think the top three franchises of PlayStation's is Gran Turismo, God of War, and Uncharted. I think those are the
yeah,
three um, like highest revenue
yeah,
um, franchises of Sony's. So yeah, you would expect it to do well, but man, this is surpassing like a lot of people's
yeah,
expectations. I think even Sony, like they at first they were like hesitant to approve the game as well because of how different it was, right? But
yeah,
man, I'm so glad they did because this is exactly what, this franchise deserved. And I absolutely can't wait for the next few games uh, from God of War, which we'll
yeah.
see probably not this gen. I'm gonna see them on whatever the next generation of consoles is, which we'll get into a little bit about that a bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Bottom line, God of War is amazing. Go play it.
Yeah.
So, next topic we want to cover is there's a new limited edition PS4 Pro. It's called the 500 million sold. It's a really weird name. It looks
Yeah.
pretty cool, and the the reasoning behind the naming of it is it's 500 million PlayStation consoles sold, like since Sony got into the gaming market. So this includes PS1, PS2, PSP, PS3, Vita, and PS4. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
combined total of all the sales is 500 million at this point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like the thing is, like I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on like, sort of like these limited edition like consoles, like specialized ones for like particular games and things like that? Do you care about them? Like, are they good for the industry, bad?
I think definitely for sure, especially because like a lot of collectors like definitely pick this kind of stuff up. Like for instance, I have a friend of mine who had the original like OG Black PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Spider-Man PS4 edition was announced, which looks amazing, which looks great, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's doing is he pre-ordered the PS4 and he also ordered the collector's edition. So
Mm.
like definitely collectors would want to collect this kind of stuff, and if they like it enough, like people will sell their old PS4 and get the new
Yeah.
one. I think it's definitely good. And the most important part is too, like if they want to get a PS4 and they're waiting for like a specific model, or they're just waiting for a chance to
Yeah.
pick one up for themselves, and they see something like the 500 million limited edition PS4, which looks really nice. It's like this dark blue, translucent and transparent like console with all these like nice blue lights. It's gold and
Mm.
everything.
Yeah.
I think like it's smart for Sony to release this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, it's very cool looking, and I know it appeals to a lot of collectors. But like JD just said, if it's sitting on a shelf, like I don't care what it looks like. Like I'm not looking at the console, I'm looking at the screen that I'm playing the game on,
Yeah,
right? Like it really
that's
doesn't
true.
matter that much. Like okay, if there's no price difference, I'll get the nicer looking one, right? So, like, I don't think these special consoles cost any more than a regular PS4 Pro. I think they're all the same price, right? So if I wanted to get a PS4 Pro like right now, I would get whatever special edition one is available because it just looks cooler. And I think like if you
Yeah.
were to trade it in later on, like it has a higher resale value because it's a limited edition one, right?
Mm,
So, like when it comes to that, yeah, it's cool. I'll get it, but like I'm not gonna like sell an old console just to get this new limited edition one, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. And yeah, like
Even well,
yeah, go
yeah.
on.
So EP said something interesting there too.
What's that?
He says, I like the idea. I doubt I'll buy one, but it's neat that they do this to recognize milestones. I remember Microsoft doing it a lot with previous Xboxes, and there's a ton of limited edition PS3s and 2s. Sega did it with a lot of Dreamcasts as well, and that's the thing. When it comes
Hmm.
time to trade in or trade up, you'll get your money back and then some.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
that's a good thing if you do that. Like I'm like I still have my PS3, but I traded in all the games for it because I don't like holding
Mm.
on to a whole bunch of stuff that I'm never gonna play. Like I don't, yeah, I don't see the point of that. Like I know a lot of people like collecting their stuff, but I don't care to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Like it's cool if they're doing this for recognizing milestones and things like that because that is pretty impressive, man. 500 million gaming units sold since
Yeah.
Sony came into the business, which is really cool to see.
That's nice, man.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think like right now in PS4 in terms of sales, it's like on track to pass the PS2 like by the end of the generation. That's what a lot of people are saying, right? And that
Wow.
was their most successful console, the PS2, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
How much did the PS2 sell?
I don't know actually.
I'm looking this up right
Yeah,
now.
look it up because I don't have the exact number.
155 million units.
And what's PS4 at right now? Probably like I think 85 million around there, somewhere around there. I think at least 80 to 85, somewhere around there. You check current
Yeah, I know it's
sales.
like 80s for sure.
It's somewhere in the
The
80s, I think.
PS4 sold 70 actually.
70? Are you
But
sure?
no, this was updated last year,
Oh yeah,
2017.
yeah. It's
So it
definitely in
definitely
the
estimated.
80s.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely in the 80s.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So that's the thing, right? It's yeah, like it's something that's very cool, but yeah, ultimately like that's what I would say. Like I don't really care a whole lot, but you know, it's got good resale value. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like we don't really have a whole lot to say. I just wanted to mention it. So if you're interested, I guess that's something you could get because I think they only have like I want to say 50,000 of those that they're selling. And something cool is I actually read about this that like it shows you like the number like which number out of the 50,000 your PS4 is like the
mm.
limited edition one like it's actually engraved into it, which is very cool. So yeah.
Oh yeah, like the limited edition like unit or like model number.
Yeah, like it's engraved into the console. It'll say this is the 41,862
Yeah,
second uh, PS4 out of the 50,000, right?
yeah.
Which is pretty cool, right? Yeah, it's only 50,000 units, right? Um, yeah,
You know,
go on.
you know what would be unwise if like it's good that like they have these kind of like limited edition PS4s, which is awesome for people to collect, people to buy, and or if they're
Hmm.
not anybody like JD,
Yeah,
they prefer to like look over at their console every now and then.
yeah,
But it would be very unwise if they release these consoles like all at the same time because they're releasing this limited edition 500 million milestone one, and then you got the Spider-Man PS4 coming out like next month.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's true.
so it's like which one would you rather get, sort of thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, since it's something they're doing for a milestone, I think that's the only reason it's like that, right? It's like, oh, okay,
Mm,
we've hit 500 million consoles sold. Sorry, not 500 million. Wait, is it 500? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, 500 million
yeah,
consoles sold, right? So they have to do it. They can't just like wait like 6 months after that to release it, right? So like when it comes to that sort of thing, yeah, like I think that's really the only reason why, because otherwise they probably wouldn't do it.
yeah.
Because I think other than that, they usually do it for like major like exclusive game or not exclusive games, or like first party game releases. That's when they tend to do that stuff. Because Microsoft does this a ton too. I think Microsoft does it way more than Sony though, because I swear they release like a new controller like every month, like a new like type of controller. Like there's so
Yeah,
many different like Xbox One controllers. Like
yeah.
it's like, yeah, like some people like complain like we want games, we don't care about all these like different types of controllers, right? There's a lot of like there's a lot of complaints like regarding that, but
Speaking of controllers, like EP was just saying in your chat, like the new DualShock for the 500 milestone, the PS4
hmm
looks awesome.
oh yeah, does it? I
It
I
does,
think
man.
I think I only saw the console. I didn't see the controller. I have to take a look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
they.
you know what I find,
Hmm.
like if I may, like I find that like PlayStation, of course, always like they always bangers. They never like special editions or varieties like consoles or controllers. And when I
Hmm.
mean that, I meant specifically back to the PS3 days.
Yeah.
PS4 days, like they're definitely like doing that more often. But man,
Yeah.
that's one thing that Microsoft does so well, man. They're always coming out with like these like special edition like versions
Hmm.
of their products, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. But I mean, again, I'm sure people would prefer games over
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Um. Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's just something Microsoft tends to do, which
Mm,
like it's fine. It's just like, other things are should have higher priority. But anyways, I mean, regardless, like some people care about these special editions, some don't. But
mm,
500 million PS4 Pro, go buy it if you want.
yeah.
Um, Another thing we need to talk about is this scumbag from IGN. Oh, what's this guy's name, man? It's Philip Muchin or something like that. I think that's what it
Yeah,
is.
let's look it up.
Philip Muchin. Yeah, Philip Muchin. That, I think I'm saying that right. Anyways, so what this guy did
Uh,
was he's he's a guy that works for IGN as an editor and a reviewer.
yeah.
Um, and he reviewed a game called I think it's called Dead Cells, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Dead Cells. So this is a game for Nintendo Switch, and he reviewed this. And what he did was he went to like there was a like a much smaller YouTube channel. I think his name is Boomstick or Broomstick or something like that. Uh, the channel's name, the smaller channel. Um,
Yeah.
he copied that guy's review. Like I think it was like word for word similarities in them, right? And like there
Yeah.
was like a whole lot of like outrage about this. Like I think the boomstick guy, he originally made like he put out a tweet, I think, right, saying that, hey, this guy from IGN stole my review. What am I supposed to do, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and like a lot of it, like it caught on the attention of a lot of people, right? Um, And yeah, I think like IGN had to temporarily take down the review, and they had to do an investigation internally and stuff. And they found, yeah, there was like a ton of plagiarism. They apologized to the boomstick guy, and they fired Philip Muchin, right? Um, and the thing is, right? See, here's what really makes him a scumbag, right? Because a lot of I swear this happens a lot. Oh, like on YouTube when it comes to people that are like under like uh you know basically people that get in trouble on YouTube, right? They'll make an
Yeah,
apology video, right? And then they'll do all sorts of scumbag things. They sort of like dance around the accusation. They don't like actually take responsibility for what they did. They don't apologize, to whoever it was, to whoever they've wronged in the situation, right? So this guy, he didn't apologize to Boomstick Gaming at all, right, about this. And he sort of just he's like, I think like what he said was, he was like, oh, this was never the intent or something like that. He never like admitted to
yeah,
what he did. He just said, oh, this was never the intent. And uh like yeah, I think he's like, he's apologizing to IGN but not to the guy that he plagiarized off of, right?
yeah.
So, oh man, but you know what's crazier is that later on, like this was like very recently, like last week and stuff, right? People have been like digging up like his history of like the reviews that he's been putting out, and they've found that this guy has copied so many things, man. Like he's plagiarized
Yeah.
so much stuff from like Wikipedia, from other news sites, and other YouTubers and everything. And you don't get this. This guy's freaking resume was copied off of like some generic website. Like they went to his like LinkedIn profile,
Wow.
and this guy couldn't even be bothered to write that. And
That's crazy, man.
like,
Actually, as you said, like plagiarizing like other things as well. EP was just saying here, what's even funnier was FIFA review he did that was stolen from a Nintendo site, where him trying to reward and reflavor his writing actually made things not make sense in the context of the game.
oh my god, man. I think I heard about that too. Like this guy is just one of the biggest scumbags ever. I didn't mean to plagiarize, but I plagiarized, just like what JD said. That was this guy's non-apology video. Oh, and get this, he monetizes the apology video as well.
Oh,
Like what a dick, man. I think he
I
took
have
down the apology video after the backlash he got for it. Yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah.
What were you saying?
I was just gonna say like I have a couple of like of what Boomstick said, and then what Muichin said, whatever his last name is.
Muchin, I think.
So he says Mukin, yeah.
Muchin.
Dead Cells only falters slightly with some repetition setting in, especially on the early areas and during longer play sessions, right? And this is the plagiarizer's like statement. Dead Cells does falter slightly with some repetition, but it's only felt in its earlier areas and during extended play sessions.
Oh my god, dude. Like, what
That's just
is
one of the many
this guy
examples.
changes like two words. Like he moves like the duh, like something like that.
Yeah,
This guy does
yeah.
nothing, dude. Like, and then I think there was like another thing of like him like having a conversation with some other person saying like, oh, he's about to interview a developer, and he asked another guy to come up with all the questions for him, and he just used those questions. He didn't like, he wasn't even just looking for like an idea. He just copied whatever the guy told him, because like he
Wow.
didn't know what to ask the developer or anything like that. Even though I think he should have played the game, right? Like, it makes me wonder, did this guy even like play the games that he's reviewing? Is that why he has to do
Yeah.
this? Like the thing is, right? Like if you give me a game that I like, if I thoroughly enjoy it, I can come up with like, I think a decently written review about it, right? With my own thoughts without looking at anything else. I mean, hell, we did sort of a on the spot God of War review just now in this episode. I think we talked about God of War for like 40 minutes, right? But if you give us the time, we can come up with like a proper review. If you played the game, it doesn't matter about like your writing skills or anything like that. You should be able to be capable of having your own thoughts, right? On something
Yeah.
that if you happen to thoroughly enjoy it, which I think he did, because I think the score he gave the game the Dead Cells game. He gave it like a 9.7 or something like that, right? So that means like he thought the game was amazing, right? But the guy
Yeah, and
can't
like,
come up
oh,
with
sorry,
something.
sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, reading from your chat, EP said, I've met people like this in life, and it's actually kind of terrifying that they were never caught early enough in life to develop a moral compass. And
Mm,
with that being said, in this situation, why do you think he just plagiarized? I mean, I'm assuming like he just wanted to take the easy way out, just want to make
hmm.
the most easiest review possible. But like, I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
yeah,
he
it's
didn't want to
really
do
it
it.
just really boggles my mind. Like, why wouldn't you want to genuinely make a review of a game that you're playing and that you're enjoying? But it is what it is, man. It really
Like,
is.
see, here's the thing, right? Like, so just in response to something JD said, he said it's like when you're younger and you went on sparknotes.com instead of actually reading the book for school, right? The thing is, like, we all did that. I did that like plenty of times, right? But the difference between that and this is that we play games because we enjoy them, right? The school or
Yeah,
something didn't force us to play the games. The thing is, like, this guy, like, okay, I kind of understand if they forced him to review a game that he just hated and it was terrible and he didn't want to finish it. I completely I don't think it's justified to do what he did, but like, I'm a little more understanding of this, right? But
yeah,
apparently this guy enjoyed the game and loved it and everything, right? Like, if there's any game that I thought was amazing, like, I would never want to copy someone else's review. I actually want to do it myself, right?
uh,
Like, not just because of say like, if I were in his place and doing it for a job, it's not just because of that, but I would want to put my thoughts out there for a game I enjoyed. Hence, like, it's one of the primary reasons that we do this podcast. We want to put out our
yeah,
thoughts, like, because I think we have some very interesting discussions amongst ourselves, right? And I think it's cool to sort of just put it out there, right? See what other
yeah,
people
for
think
sure.
about that as well, right? So, like, that, like, a lot of like gaming journalists have spoke up again about this issue and everything, and they've said how, like, disgusted they feel that this guy has done this and all, right? Because they all say that they came into this job because they're passionate about games, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
it's so weird to see somebody that really doesn't care at all, like, that much, that he just wants to plagiarize his way through all that, right? Like, yeah, I just don't get it, in all honesty. Like, and we don't even know if it was like, you know, like I guess, like, some people were even saying, like, oh, what if they gave him a deadline that he couldn't meet or something like that, right? And that's why he did it out of desperation. But the problem with that is this guy has done it for like nearly all the reviews that he's made for every other game, right? So it can't always be
yeah.
the case, right? It's not like an isolated incident. This is like, this guy has a track record of doing
Oh
this,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But you know what? Like, unfortunately, it is what it is. And I just hope that this experience has taught him a good life lesson. But from what it seems like, he just seems to be in denial.
Yeah,
But
he's an absolute dickhead. That's all I want to say
yeah, man.
about him. Like, the from the non-apology to like, to actually plagiarizing to monetizing the apology video. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, this guy is horrible, horrible person. Um, but the thing is, right? It's after this incident, I don't think this guy can ever get a job ever again in the gaming industry. Like, after that,
yeah,
like, he's done. It's over for him. Like, in this industry, at least. Like, if he wants to get a job, he's gotta like start over and do something else, I think. And
yeah.
which, like, I think it's completely justified. Sometimes people make mistakes, but this guy is just doesn't care. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, screw this guy, man. Uh, I think that about like summarizes
That's
Philip
all we have to
Muchin.
say about that.
Philip Muchin, freaking
Unless you want us
scumbag.
to talk about, we would just repeat the fact that he's a scumbag for like next like 9 minutes.
Pretty much. Yeah. Bottom line, guy's a scumbag. Let's move
Yeah.
on. So let's talk about the second major topic, of this episode, which is E3 coverage for E3 2018.
Ooh, yeah,
This is a big one. We haven't covered this yet. I know we're very, very late on this. E3 was June, and it's August right now. It's about 2 months ago.
yeah,
So, so the thing is, because we're primarily PlayStation gamers, we're gonna focus on Sony's conference and the major games that they talked about there.
yeah.
But before we get into the details of all that, I want to first say, I want to ask you, um, who won E3, Microsoft or Sony?
Oh,
This is
that's a good
assuming you
question.
did see what happened at Microsoft's conference as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'd definitely give the edge to Microsoft. Reason being is because like I mean like personal preference, I'm gonna side with Sony, but like if I have to say from a logical standpoint and just looking back at the thing
Hmm.
that they did, um, I feel like and I've heard this like I heard this opinion from a couple of other YouTubers like Sony came out because like they're the head of the competition. They really don't have to do much. You know what I mean? So like we were aware of like I mean I was looking forward to like any new announcements which they showed Resident Evil
Hmm.
2. I'm sure EP was super stoked about that
Mm.
as well as anybody else was. But when it came to like overall E3, I definitely give it to Microsoft because they came back and they came back with like all their might, man. Like they rolled out like they announced like, oh yeah, we got an exclusive studio, we got this acquired, we got that acquired, and it's like bombshells after bombshells after bombshells. And like with Sony's as like on Sony's end, the fact that like they're ahead of the competition, they did what they needed to do. You know what I mean? Like they did what they
Hmm.
had to do. Like roll out the best of what they have,
Yeah.
and I feel like they really held back on any announcements because I'm sure they're saving some for the PlayStation experience. But when it comes
Hmm.
to Microsoft, man, like they did a lot more than they needed to do. You know what I mean? Like it seems
Hmm.
like they're making a comeback. They might have lost this generation, but maybe for the next gen, like with the PS5 versus the Xbox Two or the Xbox Scarlet, whatever they're
Yeah.
calling it, I feel like there's definitely going to be some competition there because for their new studio, the Initiative, they acquired developers from like the Tomb Raider games, the producer of God of War,
Mm.
the one of the devs from Red Dead, like all these huge like huge developers. So looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with it, man. And they even acquired Ninja Theory that made some really good games in the past.
Yeah.
Most recently, Hellblade.
Yeah.
Um, overall, I mean, I think Sony did a bang up job with like showing off what they did. Resident Evil 2, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding. Don't know what that was. But Microsoft really just surprised everybody in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh man, it was. I thought them acquiring Ninja Theory was probably the biggest surprise. I wasn't expecting that because like at first, like the biggest highlight of their show was they announced five gaming studios, new gaming studios that are going to be working for them, right? And at first, what the stuff they were announcing was I forget the name of the developer, but it's the developer that made State of Decay. Like that's already an Xbox. Well, it's not Xbox. It's Microsoft exclusive. I don't know what the right term for it is. Basically, it's not on PS4. Like I don't think
Yeah.
exclusive is the right term. It because all of their sort of Xbox games are also on PC. So the term
Oh
exclusive
yeah.
doesn't work. It's basically it's not on PS4.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the stuff they were announcing that they've acquired is, yeah, the developer that made State of Decay, which is already a game that was exclusive to them. Okay, not exclusive. I keep using the wrong word. Whatever the hell the word for it is, but they were making
Well,
Xbox
exclusive,
games.
no?
Well, no, like exclusive means it's only on one platform, right?
Oh, I see.
Because it's also on PC, so you can't say it's exclusive, right?
Ah, gotcha.
So yeah, they were already making Xbox games for them. So Um, that would be the developer that made State of Decay, and then I think it was the developer that made the Forza Horizon series. They've got
Mm,
them on board, and then yeah, the big surprise was definitely Ninja Theory, right?
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's really really cool announcement from them on their part when it comes to all these new studios, right? Um, see, Randy just said console exclusive, right? But
Yeah.
that's the wrong term too. A console exclusive would be Red Dead Redemption, Destiny 1, stuff like that, because that's exclusive to consoles, not on PC. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, like, that that word just doesn't fit, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the thing is, right? That announcement was really big for them because that's what a lot of people have been sort of complaining about when it comes to Microsoft is, they have a very powerful console, right? But they don't have the exclusive games, first party games to, really showcase that, right? Because that's the thing, like the majority of third party games are not going to bring out the most of your system. If you look at Sony's franchises, right? Those are the ones that really show you what that system is capable of. God of War really
Mm,
showed us what the PS4 right now is capable of. Uncharted 4, when it came out, it showed you like, this is what the PS4 can do. The Last of Us, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 2, those games on PS3, those really showed you what that system is capable of. For the most part, like a third party game is not really going to show you that, right? Because that game is in most situations not going to get the most out of the system, right? Because it's not being developed exclusively for that system, right?
yeah.
So like that's the thing, right? Like they need more first party titles that really show off what that system is capable of. Those are the things that give you a reason to buy that system, right? And
Yeah.
so it's a really good move that they've got these new studios on board, because before that, right, what were their first party games? It was Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. That's it.
Yep.
Like they
Yep.
had like literally nothing else. So
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? So it's really good to see this, and I want to say that, like, as well, that I think I would give Microsoft the edge over Sony for this E3, because I feel
Yeah.
like E3 is at its best when they really surprise you with their announcements, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
Sony, they had like pretty much no surprises except what you said, Resident Evil 2, which honestly I'm not a Resident Evil fan, so I didn't really care either way.
Yeah.
But like yeah, that's when E3 is at its best, when it really surprises you with something that they announce, and Microsoft did that, right? And it's one of those it's one of those moments where the crowd just cheers and goes wild, right?
Yeah.
That's how you know they've won E3, right? Like when you see that at their conference. So um, Microsoft did a great job. Sony, I feel like not so much on the surprise front. The thing is,
Yeah.
we knew exactly what we were gonna get from Sony's
Yeah.
E3, because beforehand, I think it was like a couple of weeks beforehand, they said our E3 presentation will focus on these four games, and that's pretty much exactly what we got, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, really, only like a couple of small surprises. Um, but yeah, let's get more deeper into the Sony's conference. Let's
Yeah.
start off with The Last of Us 2. What do we think?
Well, they presented it in the tent.
Yeah, the tent. Oh man, it's like I think
Yeah.
Randy mentioned earlier. He's like, yeah, the Sony conferences are all about spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the whole purpose of that tent was. Uh,
I'm loading the gameplay up now so I can like
oh, you
play
want to
it as we
watch it?
talk about
Okay,
it.
yeah, yeah, sure. Um,
Um,
yeah, so like if you don't know what we're talking about, the um the Last of Us 2, the what they presented at E3 for it was it begins with a flashback scene with Ellie and her well, I guess her lover or her girlfriend. I don't know, something
yeah.
like I don't know what their relationship is at that time, but yeah, um, her name
Yeah.
is Dina. I want to say, I think it's Dina.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they're at sort of this party that's within like a tent where people are dancing and having a good time in the apocalypse and all. Um, and the Sony E3 conference began was in a tent that was created, like for like, to sort of represent that, right? Um,
Yeah.
and what was so weird is after the presentation for Last of Us, they made everybody move to like a regular stage. So what happened there was for like 20 minutes, while that was transitioning, we were just talking to, we were like, the conference just switched over to a bunch of, these, I guess, I think they're PlayStation Access or something. That's what they're called, those presenters.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like it was just those guys talking for like 20 minutes. Like, what the hell, man? I want to watch the conference. I don't care what you guys have to say. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
anyways, tell us a little bit about the what we saw for Last of Us 2.
Well, first and foremost, like a lot of people really didn't like the change to Ellie's face. I thought it was nice. It was really, she got, well, not that she didn't have freckles before, but she looks a lot more mature now, of course. First off, I gotta say, like the graphics are a huge jump from the first game, and like when you say that, like compared to like a game like God of War, if you play The Last of Us and then play a game like God of War, like you'll notice, or you know what, if you just go back to play The Last of Us now, like the graphics are very dated, like animations wise, like
Hmm.
details and everything, they're there. It's solid, right?
Yeah.
But in regards to detail or animations, like it's very dated, right? So when you go to a game like when you go to the part two, like everything's done really well, man. The attention to detail is really nice.
Hmm.
I just want to get this out of the way now because it's like the thing that they started off with. I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of people are against the kiss, but like it's just
Oh
the
boy.
small things. Like I thought I thought the kiss physics were good.
The way her lips
um,
bend and everything like that. You liked all that?
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Like
Yeah, it was. It was.
when you put into account that like the most that Naughty Dog does is they do a couple of facial capture stuff, but other than that, most of it's all like digitally done, which I think is very impressive in this case.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like Naughty Dog's like always been, of course, known to like really focus on attention to detail. Like I know that like even like going as far as to like Uncharted 4, like Sully's mustache, like he had like
Yeah.
God knows how many like individual strands of hair that they weren't able to do on like
Yeah. Yeah.
PS3 or he's like kiss physics so satisfying.
Yeah. Uh, oh man.
Yeah, we're just talking about the kiss and like I'm on video and like
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
about to,
Right. Yeah.
oh man, but yeah, then it moves over onto the gameplay. So like, what did you think about the gameplay?
Oh man, it was great. Like,
Yeah,
the thing is, like, you see this natural evolution from the first game's gameplay, right?
yeah,
Um, like, first off, like, something that was immediately noticeable was we had like a much more like cleaner HUD. Like, a lot of
oh
games,
yeah,
modern games are sort of moving towards that, right? Like, you have like less stuff on the screen, um like any sort of indicators are all pushed to like the corner of the screen just to give it more of that cinematic feel. And what I don't know if you notice this, but like at the bottom right of the screen, there's like this circle that sort of like fills up to say how much noise Ellie's making, right?
yeah,
While she's moving around and stuff. So it's much more dynamic stealth, which is very cool because before, right, it was like you were either hidden or you were visible to the enemy,
yeah,
right? Now
yep,
there's like sort of like a variability to that, right? Like you can see exactly how hidden you are, right? So if you're behind a concrete wall, you're 100%. But if you're hiding in the bushes, they can still kind of see you, right? So
yeah,
I think that's probably going to be something that's distance dependent, right? So if they get close enough, they will see you, right?
yeah, yeah.
So something like
And
that. You going?
yeah, I was just gonna say, like as you say that too, like a really more dynamic than like your AIs. Like they're actually gonna like refer to each other by name, which I thought was
Yeah.
very cool. Then like with the whole power of the PS4 and everything, like it just goes to show you how like it's gonna be like the combat system is gonna be very detailed. And I already like how like you could be going like stealthing through and like the enemies will like try to like not only call each other out by name but they're gonna give each other like special call outs, like in regards to like whistling, like
Mm,
cues here and there. Like it
yeah.
seems to be like a lot of focus going on here, which will be greatly appreciated, especially when you're playing the game. And like as you said, like when you factor in like the noise sensor, like the noise
Hmm.
level, like at the bottom right, and
Yeah.
like you match that with like the way that the enemies are reacting to the
Hmm.
environment. I think stuff is going to be a huge game changer.
Mm, yeah. It's like when it comes to like the level of detail, like Naughty Dog always excels in that. Like that's no
Yeah,
doubt, right? And
yeah,
it's like you said, like if you get spotted, right? It's like they sort of talked about this in Neil Druckmann did an interview afterwards after E3. Well, I think it
yeah.
was still part of E3, but after Sony's conference, like he talked about how like they wanted to give um like because one of their goals with the Last of Us as a series, like he's always said this from the first game, is that they want to humanize everybody. They want you to struggle with the decisions that you make, like in terms of like killing an enemy and stuff like that, because that's why in The Last of Us, the first game, right? When you get through an encounter, right, and you get to the last enemy, right, and
Mm.
if you like hurt them enough, they'll actually like beg for their life, and
Oh,
like they actually do that in the first game. They actually do that. I don't know if you've noticed that, but yeah.
yeah. You know, one thing, like as you said that, like one thing that I'm just noticing from this gameplay here is they
Hmm.
refer to Ellie as Wolf. What do you think that means?
See, that's I think either it could be like a new faction, like Fireflies, maybe the
Oh
Wolves,
yeah,
something
the
like that.
wolves. Yeah.
Yeah, or it could be just something they call, like an outsider. Like you hear like various terms. Like
Yeah.
they remember in the first game they call them like stragglers and stuff like that. Like they have like certain
Come here,
names.
straggler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they have like certain names and stuff like that. It could be that, or maybe it could literally be there's a guy in the group called Wolf, and they're calling out like Wolf, come here, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like it could be any of those. I guess we'll see when we have
Yeah.
more information on the game. But I mean, I think it would be
Like
very cool.
personally, I think you were on the ball there when you said that like Ellie's just referred to as Wolf, like more like the lone like
Yeah,
predator, like the lone enemy sort of thing.
yeah, maybe.
And now like in the gameplay, I'm just looking at here, like when you're hiding, and you could hide under cars, which I thought was really cool. And the enemies will even check under cars as well.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a very cool scene in that gameplay, right? There's like this woman that's like searching, and then she looks under the car, and right as she turns to you, she shoots her in the face.
Just popper.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff like that is
That
awesome.
that scene just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Um.
a guy comes and drags you out of the car and everything like that, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
eh,
yeah.
there's a
Even like
yeah.
I don't know if this is a huge game changer, but Naughty Dog said that they're adding a jump button.
Mm, I think that's gonna be a game changer. Like it,
Yeah, like how do you like how so?
you know why? Because it's gonna add more verticality to the to the gameplay areas. Like there's gonna be way
Oh,
more
okay.
stuff you can climb and stuff, right? Because if you remember in the first game, right? Like when you climbed over stuff and vault over stuff, it's so slow and you make a ton of noise and everything like that as Joel.
Yeah.
But here, right? Maybe she can climb up stuff like very quick, making like very little noise and stuff like that. Maybe you can, if somebody's coming towards you, you can sort of flank them from like an upper position and sort of jump on them and stab them and stuff like
Mm.
that. You get a lot more like variety to the gameplay, right? Like you get more like I don't want to say Uncharted moments because Uncharted is very like action and like very action oriented and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like okay, not action. I want to say like action movie type of stuff, right? Which Last of Us isn't gonna have that, but you get like a lot more of that, right? And the thing is, right, if this translates to multiplayer, the multiplayer maps are gonna have more verticality too, which is
A lot
something I'm
more.
a
Oh
big
yeah.
big fan of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, just quickly, I want to mention, like JD said, if listen mode is in multiplayer again, I'll be pretty disappointed. I think it
Yeah, it'll
will
be a
be.
disaster. Yeah.
Oh man, I think it will be. Because Naughty Dog just
Wait,
has
is
this obsession with it. I don't know why.
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah. If anything, I hope that at least they listen to the community feedback more, and they like make
Yeah,
game modes. Not only that, but they'll maybe even take that out. Like they'll have a game mode where it's like none of that's there.
yeah. I
Um,
don't. I don't think
but
that's
I'm just
happening.
looking at the gameplay here now, and like in regards to like the real time crafting, it's kind of cool how like you can craft like different types of arrows in real time. So for instance, like Ellie just used an explosive arrow, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Dude, if that's in multiplayer, it's gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like having a
Yeah.
freaking rocket launcher in Last of Us. You're
Yeah.
across the map and somebody freaking shoots you with an explosion. If
There's a
that's
lot.
in
Yeah, there
multiplayer,
aren't any rocket launchers. Like the only
there's a
the only
grenade launcher.
explosive weapon. Yeah, the well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Or the Kush bomb,
yeah. What the
the
hell it's
Kush
called?
launcher.
Yeah, it's
Oh man.
yeah, man. If that's in multiplayer, I don't know. That in single player, whatever goes, it's fine. Like
Yeah.
it looks cool. Um, oh, another important thing, she can dodge now. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like the melee combat in this
it looks great.
day, like
Yeah.
going back to Uncharted 4, like I really wasn't a fan of like the way you dodged in Uncharted 4. You just rolled. And like the combat felt really nice, but I think it felt really out of place when you just out of nowhere just did this like wet roll. I don't know, like
Mm,
hard to describe when you say wet,
yeah.
but it would have been better if you could do like sidestepping.
Hmm.
But I really liked how you can dodge now, and like you can like melee combat's more focused, especially with the machete and everything. I thought that was
Hmm.
really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the melee, like I really love melee combat, melee, however you say it. I
Yeah.
love that kind of stuff in video games.
Hmm.
And like part two looks awesome for that, man.
Yeah, like overall the combat looks like way more faster as well, right? Like she can
Mm,
do like running melee attacks and stuff, like the stuff like we've seen in like Uncharted and all, right? Which
yeah,
it's really cool that you get all that stuff, right? And like so much of the animations are way more improved. Like just seeing her run looks amazing. Like compared to like I didn't really like the running animations as much in the first game, right? Like um this it just looks so much better, right? And overall, like
yeah,
the way like the enemies move around and things like that, the visuals are amazing. Um,
yeah,
everything's just like a step up from the previous game, right?
yeah,
And it's like I think it's gonna be great in terms of gameplay. Like especially with all these new additions, like we have this revised crafting system. The jump button looks great.
yeah.
I'm not sure. Is it? I'm assuming it's just gonna be X, right? What did X do in the first Last of Us? I think it was just for vaulting over stuff, if
Yeah,
I'm not
pretty
mistaken.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
vaulting over, jumping over. Yeah,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so it'll
yeah.
naturally fit into the control scheme, assuming it's going to use a similar one to the
Yeah.
first game.
Ironically, though, like originally the way that the PlayStation like controller was designed was
Hmm.
that um triangle was your jump button.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I believe like square is your menu button, circle is your confirm, and then your X is your like cancel. Like circle is your yes, X is your
Yeah,
no.
yeah, like
Uh,
it's never actually used like that. I think in
yeah,
Japan, the Japanese versions of games actually do that. They have circle for confirm and X for like they're basically switched. Because usually in menu
exactly.
options now, you press X to confirm and circle to go back or say no.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
that's
opposite in
how.
Japan.
Yeah, that's exactly how the original controls for Shadow of the Colossus. Great game, by the way, if you haven't played
Hmm.
it.
Yeah,
But yeah, that. Those are the OG controls for Shadow of the Colossus.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, interesting little side bit of information, I guess. But yeah, getting back to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna fit into the control scheme very naturally.
Yeah.
Um, improved animations, everything like that. Something I've always liked about The Last of Us One is when you get into melee combat and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like something that's really cool is like when like Joel is being attacked by infected and he's like fending them off in like melee combat and stuff, or when you get grabbed or something like that, you actually feel like you're really getting attacked and stuff, right? So they sort of
Yeah.
like put all those gameplay elements together very well with the camera angle and like having to like mash a button to get free and things like that,
Yeah.
and they do that stuff so well, right? And like it's even better in this game, this new one too, right? Like what I mentioned before with when the guy comes and drags you from underneath the car and stuff like that. Like you really feel like you're getting attacked
Yeah.
in that situation, right? So stuff like that is like so well done. Animations are amazing for this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Overall, like I have really high expectations because like Rockstar, I truly believe that Naughty Dog always like raises the bar and like adds something to the game industry. Like with every single
Mm,
game, like Crash Bandicoot, they were the first to do like 3D platforming. Jack and Daxter, they had some really great innovative like game designs, and like they did a lot of like real time things that like wasn't present in games at all. And of course, you can't forget like the amazing uh, like voice acting done by the
mhm,
characters. And then Uncharted was like one of the first games that really took mocap seriously and incorporated it in their
mhm.
games. Because like every game used mocap, but Uncharted was like especially for the cutscenes, it was mocap specific.
Yeah.
And then of course, like I even remember with Uncharted, like they even raised the bar. Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, like a lot of developers like took notice of like when Nathan Drake was like walking along walls or like the way he if you would pass by something in the
He'll like
environment,
touch it
his
and stuff,
hand
right?
would actually touch
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
a lot of developers like took note of that, and they're like they thought it was revolutionary. And then
Yeah.
Uncharted 4, of course, the attention to detail, you can't go wrong. And The
Mm,
Last of Us, they really raised the bar in storytelling. And
yeah.
it's safe to say a lot of games like these days coming out after The Last of Us, a lot of games really took inspiration. They're taking notes from those games, and of course, you could tell from that in God of War. So I don't know where they can go from here, but I have full confidence in Night Dog. They always deliver something new, which really sets it apart from the competition.
Yeah. I think when it comes to single player, like they always deliver. They never disappoint. Um.
Yeah,
It's like when it comes to the gameplay of it, I'm glad to see like all the improvements being made. I hope there's like a lot more depth in terms of upgrading your weapons and the crafting system and things like that. Like I hope you
yeah,
can craft like like a silencer and stuff like that. Like add more to that sort of system, right?
yeah,
Just to get because basically you want more variety in terms of the gameplay and the things you can do, right? Like if you
yeah,
like something is like from the first game is that I don't think there was enough variety for if your play style is to be stealthy, right? Like you had, the bricks and bottles to distract enemies, and you had the bow for silent kills, and that was it,
mm,
right? So things like that, if they can just expand on it more and provide you more variety for it, I think like that jump button, if that does indeed add more verticality to the
yeah,
gameplay areas, that um, that already sets a new way to play, right? If you can do
yeah,
like aerial takedowns and things like that, right? Which I'm not sure how well that would fit in with a game like Last of Us, but
yeah,
if they can find a good way to do it, I'm on board for it.
for
Um,
sure, man. Yeah, they'll come up with something. They'll
I'm
come
sure.
up.
I'm sure they will, and this game
Yeah,
is a long ways away, so we've got
yeah,
a lot of time until we actually get our hands on this. But
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
like the gameplay looks great. Um, Story wise, we don't know enough yet about it.
Yeah,
Like we know that first scene at the dance is sort of it's a flashback, and then
yeah.
I think Neil Druckmann confirmed this too, that the part that we see with the gameplay is a year after the dance. So
Oh wow,
yeah, he actually confirmed that it's a year
wow.
after. So if you notice, that girl isn't with her there. Dina is not there with her. So
Yeah, she's and somebody actually even noticed it was her. I think her headband, or like her something on her head or something on her wrist. Like she had a bracelet.
mm,
If you look at the gameplay, Ellie's wearing her bracelet.
okay.
She's wearing something that belonged to her. That's what I remember seeing.
So maybe she's in trouble. Maybe she's
Yeah,
maybe
uh,
she didn't make it.
yeah.
Something
I'm
could have
thinking like
happened.
I laughed because you said
Uh, sorry,
I feel
sorry,
like she just got dismembered or something, man.
you your mic cut out. What do you say?
Oh, I said I feel like she got dismembered or something. Like
Oh,
something
okay.
brutal happened, like
Yeah.
she got killed or something.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Maybe or maybe not.
yeah,
We don't know
Yeah,
yet. Like we don't
time will tell.
like I pretty sure she's gonna be a pretty significant character to the story.
Mm,
Um, but will time will tell. I guess like there's a few other characters that we've seen in some of the other reveals and all, and it just the like the first game had like a lot of very interesting characters with different motivations and things like that, and hopefully we see more of that carried over into this game.
yeah.
We still don't know who the previous there was like a previous trailer before this. I think it was at PSX where that super buff chick was revealed. We still don't know who she is.
Yeah.
And then she's Ellie's mom. We don't know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we have no
If
idea.
I may say, like, I really hope that that's not the case because I think that whatever story that they're gonna tell, I think it should be told in real time. I don't think they should do anything, flashback related
Yeah.
because the story needs to be told in the now. You know what I mean? If it correlates to anything that's going on in the present, but
Hmm.
like even with those kind of factors, it just kind of takes away from the current experience, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. I just hope that's not her mom. Personally, I think it's a possible love interest at some point down the road. They meet up, they team
Hmm.
up together, they roll in the hay a little bit, and then there's some sort of like conflict, and they're both at like a crossroads, and then she ends up becoming a villain, and
Hmm.
then Ellie's of course forced to, you know, unfortunately, do the hard bid. Because what I really liked about the first one was it was essentially
Hmm.
a story about two people embarking on a journey, right? But Neil Druckmann has confirmed that The Last of Us 2 is a story about hate. So I'm
Hmm.
really looking forward to seeing that side of Ellie because it's definitely going to be a more darker tone story.
Yeah.
I mean, as you could tell, like this clan, the way that they, execute
Yeah.
enemies or victims, like they
Brutal.
they they don't they just go straight for the stomach and like let all the entrails like stick out. Like,
Yeah.
man, like
Yeah, that's
it's
actually like a sort of a recurring theme with that group. It seems like because in the first, in that the I'm just gonna call it the buff chick trailer. But if you notice, they hang her by her neck and then like start poking at her stomach with a knife. So that looks like their way
man,
of killing their victims or something like that.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what this new group is all about because yeah, they look worse than
yeah,
David and the Hunters from uh, Last of Us One, right? So
yeah,
it'll
for
be
sure,
interesting
for
to
sure.
see who they are, what their motivations are, and everything. And Naughty Dog, I'm sure they'll do a great job in sort of convincing you that these people are just doing what they need to do to survive, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
so looking forward to seeing more information on that. Um,
Oh yeah,
and
man.
and yeah, I think we spent quite a bit of time on Last of Us 2. Let's move on to the
Yeah,
other games
yeah.
too. Okay, Ghost of
What's next?
Tsushima.
Yeah, I love like on the scale. You like
Ghost of Sushi. That's what I'm gonna call
But
it.
by the way, before we get into Ghost of Tsushima, you could definitely start talking about it, but I hate to do this, very unprofessional. I need 10 seconds because I got to go switch over to my PS4, stop the downloads because it's causing a lot of lag on my end. So
Oh,
you
what are
just
you
take it.
downloading?
I believe I'm downloading Killing Floor 2 and Titanfall 2, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I forgot like I had those like set. So I just need
Hmm.
15 seconds. I'm just
Okay,
taking care of it now. And
go ahead.
yeah, man. Let you, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll start off a bit about Ghost of Tsushima. So this is the new game made by Sucker Punch. They are the developers of the Infamous series, and so what this takes place in feudal Japan, um, and you will play as a samurai. I don't know if your name is Tsushima or what Tsushima is, but anyways, you play as the samurai, and the gameplay it focused on basically this uh, where I think I think it's his mentor. I'm not sure if it's his mentor or basically some companion of his, this other
Yeah, I
woman.
assumed it was a
Yeah,
companion.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's some sort of companion, and they're sort of fighting together, and um
Mm.
at basically when you get to the end of that gameplay, sequence. Um, there's one last enemy that our protagonist wants to kill, and she stops him, and then they get into a fight. So yeah, so something goes on there. I didn't quite catch that what the whole conflict of the story was about. I didn't to be honest, I was paying more attention to the gameplay because that's
Yeah.
sort of what interested me more. They got some like really cool like executions and stuff that you can do.
Can I
Uh,
ask you a quick question?
mhm.
Do you think the way that graphically this game looks, do you think it's gonna look as good, if not better, on release day, or do you think that it's gonna be toned down a bit?
I think it will look as good. I don't think it'll
Yeah.
be toned down because Sony's first party games don't have a history of doing that. A
Oh
lot
yeah,
of them tend to look better than how they were actually revealed as well.
that's true.
Okay. Randy said he's a ninja that infiltrated the samurai. Okay. Okay, I
Who?
guess.
The woman?
No, no, your guy that you play as.
Oh, so we're. Oh, okay.
It's set on an island that the Mongols invaded and it takes place around that time. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
Which I think is so cool,
Yeah.
man. Because like the last samurai game that I think was really released was I think during the PS2 days,
Isn't
if I
Neo a
remember correctly.
samurai game?
Well, it's more. I mean, it's like I think it's like samurai themed. I haven't
Yeah.
played it myself just from the looks
Mm-hmm.
of it, but it's more. It's pretty much like a Dark Souls Bloodborne clone, just set in that kind
Mm-hmm.
of era.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's more like samurai focused, but yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know too much about like historically about that time period or about samurais or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it looks like something interesting, and it's different. It's a like like sort of a different setting than a lot of other games that you experience. But it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because the timing of this, right? There are going to be three samurai games coming out. There's this Ghost of Tsushima. There's Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the new game from Software. And there's Neo 2. They also announced that.
Yeah.
So there's three samurai-based games coming out from E3, right? Which is interesting because we barely seen them before, right?
It's
And
cool
now,
they're bringing them back.
yeah, and now like you got like three to choose from, assuming they all come out
Yeah.
around the same time period. Um, yeah, so it like in terms of the gameplay, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
He's got like a lot of
Combat's.
different types of takedowns and all. And sorry, go on.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say, yeah, like the combat, like because a lot of samurai games, especially back in the PS2 days, they were more like hack and
Hmm.
focused. But from what this looks like, it looks fast paced too. But it looks like you have to be a little more patient, timing your attacks
Yeah,
and everything, which I think like it really like it it does justice to the history
yeah,
because like samurais, they don't just run in a room and just start slashing everybody up. It's all about
yeah.
like
They're all about
patience,
precision
timing.
and their technique and all.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I think like gameplay wise, it's always better for your gameplay to have more depth. Like a
Yes,
button masher just gets boring after a certain
yeah.
amount of time, right?
Tiring for your thumbs too, if I may.
Yeah,
Oh man.
exactly.
But here's something that I thought well, not was controversial, but I think was a problem that this game was facing
Hmm.
was the lack of Japanese voiceover, because I think Japanese and Mongol voiceover, because I think in this game and the era and the time, I think it would be an injustice to have this game only in English.
Yeah.
But Sucker Punch actually did announce that this game will have Japanese voiceovers, so which is great.
Probably in the
What are your
combat.
thoughts on that?
I'm pretty
Sorry?
sure like the combat and stuff will have like like the the call outs and stuff will probably be in like Japanese and stuff, like when the enemies
Oh,
communicate
true.
with each other and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's probably
yeah.
only going to be cutscenes. It's going to be English. Probably the rest will probably be Japanese. I
Oh, I
think
see
so.
what you're
Yeah.
saying. But
Like,
I
I think
hope
like
that's what they're doing.
story elements should be in English is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Um and
Like, was there anything specifically? Whoa, was there anything specifically about the gameplay that you were impressed with?
Oh
aside
man,
from the visual.
the very last scene of the combat where it sort of
Mm,
it shifts to like like sort of a side scrolling fighting game kind of style where you
yeah,
and the woman are fighting with each other, and then there's this beautiful setting in the background where you have like the sunset coming down on you, and then there's all these leaves from the trees like floating around and everything, and it looks
yeah,
amazing. Like I thought like that transition into that looked very cool. And I wonder how that'll be used, if that's like a regular thing or if that's reserved for, boss fights or key moments of the story or something like that. I'm interested in
yeah,
seeing that. And let me just look at a couple of comments Randy said. The West kind of fell out of love with Japan as it was represented in pop culture during PS360 era, because there was a big shift to Western developed games in the console space, partially because the PS3 was so initially expensive. Yeah, that's true.
hmm,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, because like you said, like the last samurai focused game was during the PS2 era, you said, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I mean, it's if you're a fan of those types of games, it's nice to see that they're coming back because you got like three to choose from now. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, when it comes to this game, to be completely honest, out of the stuff that we saw at E3, it's the one that I'm least intrigued about. Reason being
Okay.
is because like I like From Software as well, right? And I'm
Uh-huh.
interested in their Sekiro game. I want to see what that's like too. And because
Oh,
this is
okay.
like very similar to it, right? It's, not as unique in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So like because of that, I'm not as interested, but I do still think this is going to be a great game. I'm
Yeah.
highly looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
I'm actually just at the scene now where fighting. And like what I really liked, man, the attention to detail, you can have great first party
Hmm.
studios, man. Like the sun setting in the back, they're fighting, like the leaves blowing in the wind. Like it's awesome, man.
Yeah. It looks very cool. Um, yeah, honestly, like we don't know a whole lot about like the story behind it and everything like that,
Yeah.
and I haven't really like looked into it much myself either.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks interesting. Hope it's a good game.
It's nice to see
Yeah,
like how they're adding this kind of like
yeah.
taking
I
a page out of history and showing something like
mhm.
this. I think it's very nice.
I think it's good that they're doing this instead of going back to Infamous. I think that's really
Oh
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'd like to see something different from a lot of the Sony studios. Um and also yeah, so looks like a pretty good game. Um After that, I think Spider-Man was the next thing that was shown, right?
No, was
Was it? I can't remember.
is that what you have on your list there?
Yeah, I don't know if I put it out of order.
Okay. Yeah,
And
no worries.
we can talk about Death Stranding first if you want.
Uh, um, but what are
This
your thoughts, man? Like, tell me, what was
for
going
which
through your head?
one?
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding? Yo, I don't, I don't. What the hell is this game about, man? You're a freaking postman that's climbing mountains. But
Yeah.
okay, I'll tell you this. For a very long time, I didn't understand what the hell this game was about, and then
Yeah.
I watched this video from Robin Gaming. Shout out to him, great YouTuber by the way. He did sort of like an analysis of what Death Stranding was about. This was before this gameplay came out. Like
Oh,
all the like about the previous ones, right? So then I sort of understood like a little bit more about what the whole the world and the story and everything is about. And I thought like one very cool element that I didn't previously understand was with the water in the world,
yeah.
specifically when it comes to when it rains. And the whole idea behind it is that the rain, whenever it touches a living thing, it accelerates their growth and aging, right?
Oh,
So
interesting.
what happens is when you watch the like in all of the trailers and stuff, if you look on the grass and like the plants and stuff, when it's raining, they rapidly start growing, then they die, and then they grow again and die, and stuff like that. That quickly
Wow.
happens. And if you look at the I think it was the probably last year's E3 reveal, right? Um, there were there were those guys they were like in a specialized suit and stuff, right?
Mm.
And what happens is one of the guys, his like helmet breaks or something like that, and basically when the rain touches his face, you see him, he immediately starts aging and becoming an old man
Wow.
before he gets killed, right? So, so like that's sort of the like I think that's the reasoning behind their sort of apocalyptic world in Death Stranding, right? It has to do with the water and the rain, and there's even I think there's a in this gameplay. Well, I don't know if it's gameplay reveal, but this E3 reveal. I think there's like where um there's a point where like the guy you're playing as, Norman Reedus's character,
Yeah.
when he's like crossing like a river or something, he slips and then he falls in, and it looks like he died. I think, like in terms of the gameplay, like it looks like you failed the mission or something like that, right?
Oh, I see. See.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So it looks like like if the water gets you, I think that kills you.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting.
but it's a very cool concept in terms of making an apocalyptic world, right? Because usually when it comes to apocalypses, it's usually some zombie outbreak or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So this is a very cool take on it, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Like one thing
yeah,
that I thought was pretty cool was like a lot of people seem to speculate that this game might not have necessarily a whole lot of action, like because you're playing as like a transporter almost, right? Like a
yeah,
kind of like a messenger, so you're transporting stuff all the time. So it seems like most of the game's time is like you just traversing through the environment trying to deliver stuff, and
mm,
like a lot of people said, okay, well, like that's gonna kind of suck because like there's no point, like there's no action or
mm,
nothing a whole lot going on. But I think that something like that, playing a game like that's refreshing, especially when you're going through like these vast beautiful environments, in this game, like scaling through
hmm,
mountains. It's awesome, man.
yeah,
And like with that being said, going to yeah, as I even saw here from the gameplay, like as it's raining, like I see grass sprouting out slowly, and then
yeah,
there are these entities, like these invisible enemies,
yeah.
like tell me what's going on through your mind about that.
Okay, so what happens is whenever you see the characters when they're moving around the world and everything, right? Um, if you notice, like from their back, there's like this sort of like mechanical arm that kind of
Mm,
like like waves in a certain direction. That's what
yeah,
tells them which direction those like entities are in,
yeah.
right? Um,
Okay, gotcha.
and the thing is, like the baby that they're transporting is somehow tied into that. I don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah,
Um, like I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere before, but I've forgotten it now. But
yeah,
the baby is somehow tied into these entities, and also the uh, the uh, like the rain and the water and stuff like that
yeah,
too. It's somehow
yeah,
tied into all of that. And if you see, like, they introduce a couple of new characters in this uh in this reveal as well. Like there's these two women that they introduce, right? And like one of them, right? She, like, if you notice, she has like this weird looking umbrella, right? So like the like Norman Reedus, he has like this protective suit, right?
yeah,
To protect him against the rain. She has like some sort of specialized umbrella to protect her. And there's like this bug or something she eats, right? And I
yeah.
think that provides some sort of like immunity to
Mm,
to the effects of the rain. Not
yeah,
entirely sure how that works, but um, you can actually see that in the very first reveal of it, right? There's actually a reference to that. Like that same bug she eats, like what happens is like after he like your character, I think he like comes back to life or something like that in the very first reveal, and he vomits like this black stuff, if you remember that,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
inside there's like these bugs that come out of there too. It's that bug that she ate, the same one.
yeah.
so I so that's what I think. It grants some sort of like protectiveness to uh you know to whatever is happening basically. I don't really know how to describe
Yeah,
it well, but yeah, like it's yeah, it's so that's gonna have some sort of key effect on this. I feel like this game is not gonna shine in gameplay, but in terms of the story that it's trying to tell
yeah,
in this world, I think it's gonna be something like pretty special. Like I honestly I don't see much like in terms of gameplay that looks interesting at all. It's just like
yeah,
I don't know what the hell you're gonna do if you're just really just a postman in the world that gets involved in something
yeah,
bigger probably, but um, I do feel like it's going to be a very interesting story to see, and I do want to
yeah,
see where it goes with that, right? And I think this is the game that Kojima wanted to make, right?
yeah.
Like
He doesn't want to be known as the Metal Gear guy.
yeah, because I think did he like um bring this idea to Konami and they said no and they wanted him to make another Metal Gear or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And you know what, man? Like, with going back to what you said about the whole, like, I think game is gonna excel in story, not so much in gameplay. Like,
Hmm.
knowing Hideo Kojima, man, I hope anybody who hasn't played MGS, and in
I
your case,
haven't.
yes, like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I hope you get to sit down and play the games at some point, because during their times, man, they were so innovative, such really good games. Like,
Hmm.
story was solid, gameplay was just so spectacular, man. It was always like the little experiences that really, like, the little things that really made the experience. Like,
Hmm.
Hideo Kojima is like a legend, man, as a game developer.
Yeah.
I have full confidence in him, man. I think this game's gonna excel in every way.
Hmm.
But like, one aspect of this game that like really annoyed me was how like a lot of people are complaining about the fact that they don't know what's going on. I think that's nice to have that little case of mystery. And even Kojima's team, they responded and said the reason why there aren't that many reveals, or like there's not much information on the game coming out, is
Hmm.
because they, in this day and age, information spreads so fast, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you kind of get a sense of what you're getting into,
Hmm.
whereas they want this to be like a blind experience for you, which I
Yeah.
totally see where they're coming from. But when it comes to the people that like are still kind of like pissy about it, and they're like, oh, I still don't get this game, like, why do you have to be so secretive? It's like, well, just interpret it however you want, I guess. But
Okay.
yeah,
I will say this, right? If you're
yeah,
a fan of Kojima, it's completely understandable, like the way you feel about it, that you're fine with the sense of mystery and stuff, right?
that's
But if
true.
it's,
Yeah,
someone like me that like doesn't play his games, doesn't know what it's all about and everything, right? Like what's like there's not really like before I understood the whole rain thing, right? I was just like, what the hell is this game about? I don't really care about it. None of that, right? But
yeah.
then, like, when I understood that little bit, like, did you know about that? Like the,
No, I actually just
oh,
found out
oh,
about that when
okay,
you told me.
yeah. So, like, when I looked at that, right, and it was like, oh, okay. So, like, that looked like something that was very unique. I've never seen any sort of like story that's like that, right? When it comes to an apocalyptic world. So that was something that, you know, like really caught my attention. I was like, okay, maybe I should pay attention to this game. I might actually
Yeah,
like it if I play it, right? So that's the thing. Like, it's like, you know, the way you're feeling about like it's okay to have that sense of mystery is only justified when you have enough trust for that developer, right?
that's true.
If they're unproven, then like, it's not acceptable to someone, right? So, like for me, right? If Rockstar is making something and it's completely surrounded by mystery, I have no idea what it is. Like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Um, like even if they were to never show any trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm getting it regardless. You don't have to show me anything. Just tell me what the title of the game is. That's fine. Same with the next GTA. I don't need to know a single detail about it. I will buy it like
Yeah,
regardless because I know what this developer is capable of. I know the types of games they make, their mindset in development, right? I know
yeah,
they'll always deliver, right? So when it comes to that, if it's like if they've proven themselves and given you their trust and like they've gained your trust, right? It's acceptable to to go in blind into something, right? But if it's if they're unproven to someone else, right? They're not going to be as open to the idea. you know.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I got you. Yeah, that actually makes sense now
Mm.
that you put it that way.
Right? He thinks it's going to be very Lovecraftian. Yeah, I think so too. In terms of the like the world and everything, it's got those kind of vibes to it. And he says it shouldn't be surprising considering many Metal Gear games explore supernatural elements. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
too much about that, but maybe you do a bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
like I mean, I'm sorry, I played Metal Gear Solid 4 and I thought it sucked. Like
Yeah.
I didn't like it. But I played Ground Zeroes, uh,
Mhm.
and I liked it. It was good.
Nice.
Yeah, like I finished all the missions and everything. I thought it was good. So
Oh, sweet.
I will play Phantom Pain at some point. Like I have the game, I just have to download it and play it at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Um,
Alrighty, man.
yeah, I mean, Death Stranding, very weird, but also very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I just want to mention something. Earlier when we were talking about God of War, I was talking about how when it comes to the lore and the mystery of the game, right? And like when you kind of look into it, like the details of it more, and it sort of blows your mind. Like when you actually like, look at like the stuff that the fans have come up with and everything, and it related how like the last time I felt about that was like BioShock Infinite, right?
Yeah.
And that sort of like feeling, I get that kind of feeling from Death Stranding, you know? Like
Hmm.
when it comes
Yeah.
to like I feel like this is something that like when I actually if I play through it and I actually understand, like when I actually understand the story, it's gonna be something that's just mind blowing, which it's a very exciting feeling
Yeah.
if a game is going to do that. So I'm getting those kind of vibes from Death Stranding. So, looking forward to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, okay. Let's uh, let's wrap up E3 with Spider-Man.
Alrighty. Yeah, what were
Thought
your initial thoughts looking at the gameplay?
Thoughts on the gameplay? It looks great, man. In terms of
Yeah.
like the web swinging, it just feels so. It looks so natural, and the last like really good Spider-Man game I played, I don't know if you played this, but it was Spider-Man 2 on like
Oh,
PS2.
of course, man. That's the
Yeah.
best Spider-Man game. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it was great. I didn't play it on PS2. I played it on GameCube. I didn't have a PS2, but
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I know like the Xbox version was the best version like to play it
Mhm.
on, but
Yeah.
like I think it was mostly sold on the PS2,
Yeah.
but performance-wise, it was best on Xbox. But the
Mm.
GameCube version was a lot better on PS2, like in regards to visuals.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man. And like yeah, like the thing is, okay, well, I'm gonna ask you this question after we talk, like when we're at the end of the talking about Spider-Man. But yeah, just initial thoughts about like gameplay. Like I
Mhm.
thought like seeing like the five
Yeah.
villains. I forget what the name of the group is, but you got like
Sinister
Electro,
6, I think.
the center. Yeah, so yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get Electro, Scorpion, Rhino, Mysterio. I think was Mysterio there too.
I think so. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I'm not a Marvel expert, but I like
yeah,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
Yeah. Um
That's awesome, man. Combat. What
yeah.
do you think about the combat?
Yeah, I really like it. I love how like the web swinging is going to be tied in with it. Um,
Yeah,
See, I played a little bit of Batman Arkham City, and I've heard like that game's been praised so much, but I never even finished it. Like, I thought it was
yeah,
okay, but like I didn't really like the game world. I want to say, like I
yeah.
didn't think the Arkham City was like a very fun place to sort of explore and all that. Um, Whereas, Spider-Man is New York City, swinging across buildings and everything. It's going to be so much fun. Um,
Yeah.
and Spider-Man has always been, I would say, my favorite superhero because
Oh, nice.
something that I always like. I like heroes like Batman and Spider-Man and all because their superpowers because they have limitations. That's why.
Mhm.
Like I don't like Superman because he's just this super strong guy. Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like these guys, they have like limitations. Like Spider-Man can't fly through the air. He's limited to where he can swing his webs, right?
Yeah.
Batman can
That's
only
true.
glide. Batman depends on gadgets. If he doesn't have the gadgets, then he's screwed, right?
Yeah.
Um, like it's nice to see when your hero has limitations. That's what creates good conflicts and stories and things like that, right? Um, so I've always liked Spider-Man. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to this. But I hate to do this, but I'm gonna pass on the game for now because it's too close to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, I see.
Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge Destiny 2 fan. I'm gonna pass on the Forsaken DLC for now. I'll get it eventually later. I'm not gonna not play it, but like I
Yeah.
will play it eventually. But it's just because Red Dead 2 is way too close to these games. So I'm just gonna wait and play them like much later. Um,
Okay.
but I still think it's gonna be great. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Is it a day
Like,
one for you?
uh, it most likely will.
Hmm.
I would like to get a day one, but like I have to plan out, financially, see if
Yeah.
I'm able to get it.
Well,
Um.
regardless of financial, like if it was okay in terms of just your interest in the game, is it a day one?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Sorry, what were
Yeah.
you gonna say? I think I cut you off.
Like I was just gonna say, man, like just like as you're saying, like it's true, like it's nice like to see like you playing as like a superhero instead of him relying on specific things, you
Hmm.
know. Combat's great. Of course the visuals are outstanding. I'm a huge like fan of like, close quarters combat in video games. So this looks pretty responsive, but then again, like seeing seeing
Hmm.
and actually playing it are two completely different ball games. So maybe it plays better than what we see.
Hmm.
Um, but I want to ask you this, man. I know I wanted to say by the end of it, but do you think this game is going to surpass Spider-Man 2?
Yes, I
How
think so.
come?
Just because the technology that they have now to do
Yeah,
what you want from a Spider-Man game is just way more than you know than what they had back then, right?
yeah.
Um, this is being developed by Insomniac. They're a very talented studio. I'm sure
Oh yeah,
they'll do they'll do great by the game. Um, yeah, I just feel like mainly in terms of like the technology that they have available from PS4,
mm,
will just open up way more in terms of like the animations, the gameplay feeling way more like fluid. Um, yeah, just overall, I think and even like presentation wise, like the world and everything is gonna look so much better, more believable, a lot more detail in like the open world and everything.
yeah, yeah.
All those
Uh,
things added up together is looking to be probably the best Spider-Man game.
Personally, like if I may say, man, I believe that like I'm not doubting that's going to be a good game, but I think it's just not going to match the quality of 2. Reason
Mm,
being is because Spider-Man 2, like it was just the little things that like they've really focused on the gameplay, like in regards to physics and combat mechanics. Like everything was
mm-hmm,
so technical, and like just looking at the swinging, like it just doesn't feel you're going to get that same velocity. But
mm-hmm.
again, like playing is completely different than seeing, right? So
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I know this game is going to be really good, but I'm still like on the fence in regards to will this game be the defining Spider-Man experience. But we'll see, man. Because it's been too long since we've had a game that surpassed Spider-Man 2. But
Hmm.
we'll see, man. We'll see.
Like another thing is like you have like in terms of like the story they're telling, you have six different villains,
Yeah,
whereas Spider-Man 2 was all about Dr. Octopus, right? So, you're gonna have like because that essentially it followed the storyline of the movie, right?
yeah,
But this is gonna be something that's I don't think this is tied into a specific like movie or comic as far as I know. Like I don't think it's
yeah.
just copying the story. Like I feel like I think this is something like that's like more original in terms of a story, isn't it? Like I haven't seen
Like
it.
this game,
Yeah, like this game's story, like I don't think it specifically follows like one particular comic or anything like that, right?
I couldn't tell you, man. I really don't
Hmm.
know. Like you, man. I'm not comes to the Marvel universe and
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I don't know a whole lot about the Marvel universe and all.
Yeah,
Um,
I have friends that like I
yeah,
ask him and he explains that stuff to me.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Like
overall, it's looking like
AJ
a
is an expert
great
on
game.
Marvel stuff. Yeah,
Oh, is that right?
yeah, he's a big fan of that stuff. Yeah,
Interesting. All right, we'll definitely have to ask him if we
yeah,
need any explanations.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's getting the game too.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, nice, nice.
yeah. Um, yeah. I'm gonna wait later on,
Yeah, alrighty.
but
Overall, though, man, like game's looking pretty solid.
yeah, I think overall in terms of Sony's conference, the two big standouts are Last of Us 2 and Spider-Man. I think they are the two biggest
What were the two, Last of Us and Spider-Man?
yeah, from their conference. The stuff they showed at the conference, those were like the two biggest standouts.
Okay. Yeah, I got you there.
Um, Another thing I wanted to ask you about Days Gone. We didn't see that at E3. And I don't know if you saw like the most recent like gameplay of it and stuff. Honestly, it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
Like
you think so?
I don't think yeah, I don't think that's going to be a great game. Like
How come
it,
exactly? What makes you say that?
I don't know what it is about it. Like you know the animations and the shooting and stuff, it just looks so weird. Like it looks like it doesn't look very polished, you know? Like
Yeah.
mm, I'm sure I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it's going to be like great or amazing, but you know, we'll
Because you
see.
know what? Like, this is a developer that's coming from Vita. They made a this and they made the site. They're a PlayStation Portable focused company.
Yeah.
So they made the Siphon Filter series and they made
Hmm.
Started. Um, but like there are some things that I saw in there and like that with the whole like crafting, scavenging for items. I thought if they incorporated that in The Last of Us, it would make and have like a great story. I think it would be a banger.
Hmm.
But having a game like Days Gone to replace that, I think the game's gonna focus more in gameplay. It's gonna excel in gameplay, but not necessarily in story, because
Hmm.
it doesn't really seem that story's gonna be like just a game changer.
Yeah.
I think the physics, like when it comes to like setting traps, like scavenging around, getting gas for your
Hmm.
vehicle, and even the combat, I think everything looks pretty detailed, and it is like a little early on because I think it's coming out like 2019 of February, so they got a
Yeah.
lot of time to really tone up the game and just kind of like clean it up. But
Yeah.
yeah, I personally think like it's not going to be incredible, but I think it's going to be a good game.
I think another thing that sort of has an effect on it is that The Last of Us is a game with a very similar setting, right? And that sort of
Oh
like
yeah,
it kind of cannibalizes on it, right? When you have like two first party games that are very similar in their setting, um, like it just yeah, I feel like I think it's pretty safe to say that The Last of Us will be the superior game, right? So it's like
oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, like it's just I feel like it's always going to be compared to that, right? It's like, oh well, why should I buy Days Gone when I could just buy The Last of Us, right?
True.
Something
Yeah,
like
true.
that. So I feel like that's going to hurt it in the long run, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how the game turns out. Like it doesn't look that great to me right now, and nothing extra was shown at E3. I'm pretty sure regarding
yeah,
that, but yeah, I think that game is coming out early next year, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Like yeah, like early
Exactly.
February,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Mm. Um.
Exactly, sir. But yeah, I think it might not like be an incredible game as I said, but I think
Mm.
it's gonna do fairly well.
Oh, and in response to what Randy said, um, like about he's surprised that Spider-Man generated that much hype.
Yeah,
Um, I don't think it's people were waiting around for a game like that. It's just it was like a really nice surprise, I think, because like the last really good like really well received superhero games were the Batman Arkham series, and I think before that there weren't a whole lot because historically the superhero games have been like haven't been that great overall. if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last like really well received ones were the Arkham series.
Arkham
Um,
Knight, I think, came out on PS4.
hmm
That
Yeah.
was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean that whole series. There's four games, right, in it. Like Arkham Asylum, City, Origins, and Night, right? So
Yeah.
like that series, other than that, like I can't think of anything else in like recent history that was a very good superhero game, right? So I think it's
Yeah.
just like people have gotten just like sort of just gotten used to the idea that superhero games are kind of gonna suck, right? And then
Yeah.
The Arkham series came along, sort of shifted the tone of that, right? And a lot of people are comparing the combat of Spider-Man to the Arkham games, right? And they're
Um.
expecting Spider-Man to be just as good, if not better, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I just think
Right
it's
on.
it's a very pleasant surprise to a lot of people. So the hype is like building up for Spider-Man as well. I don't know if you saw this, but in New York City, right?
Yeah.
Their subway trains, there's actually a train that they've completely like decorated like Spider-Man style. Like the outside of the train, it has like for the Spider-Man game. It
Wow.
has Spider-Man all over. The seats are like completely red. They have like references to like the Daily Bugle and all that stuff from
Wow.
Spider-Man, the Spider-Man universe and all. Yeah, if you look it up, you can actually find like pictures of it and all. Like there's a
One thing is for sure, man.
yeah.
Like on Twitch, like everyone's gonna be streaming Spider Man. I think
Oh
it's
yeah.
gonna be a good chunk of people streaming Spider Man, no
Yep.
doubt.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
going to be very well received, I think.
Do you think it'll outsell God of War?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, Spider-Man can appeal to a lot more people
Yeah.
because um because the Marvel movies are are huge in the movie
Hmm.
world, right? So a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
non-gamers um could be attracted to this game too, right?
for sure. Yeah, yeah,
So like it can pull an entirely different audience as well, right? So it's very possible. I think it could become the new fastest selling PS4 exclusive, right?
yeah,
Or PlayStation
yeah.
exclusive game. Um, yeah, I think it's likely. Um, just
Because
because of
as you
that.
said, man, like, oh, sorry, sorry. Because what?
No, just because of that, because it can pull an entirely different audience. Like it has the potential to pull an entirely different audience,
Mm,
uh, like into the game that God of War can't exactly do.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You
We'll
know,
see what happens, man. But I feel like I think it. I'm not sure if it will, but I think it can because, as you said, it just appeals to more people. They're doing some crazy, advertising campaigns for the game,
yeah,
revamping, subway trains and stuff.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens, man. But I think it's got a good chance. And people are craving for a new Spider-Man game, man. And
mm,
this one looks pretty promising.
yeah. It's looking to be good, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
now I'm just like thinking more about like whether it will outsell or like it'll overtake God of War as like fastest selling exclusive.
Time will tell, man.
And it's possible because Spider-Man is a more easily recognizable character than Kratos. Like a lot of people, like
Oh
PlayStation fans know who Kratos is, but
yeah.
everyone knows who Spider-Man is, right?
Yeah. And you
Like
know what? Now the fact that they're releasing the Spider-Man movies, I think they're releasing a Spider-Man move. No, are they?
Spider-Man Homecoming came out, I want to say last year. Was it last
Yes,
year?
aren't they releasing one this year?
I don't think this year.
Oh, okay.
There's a
I th-
Venom movie coming out, isn't there? When is that?
oh yeah, it's actually at the end of this year.
End of this year? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the fact that they even rolled out the new Tom Holland. You best believe Sony's going to be doing some sort of like marketing campaign with Tom Holland featured. So I think the
Mm,
fact with the movies, the actor, and this game coming out, I think there's a lot that's going to be factored in.
um, I think who's playing Spider-Man in the game?
All I know is that he's the voice actor of Sasuke in Naruto.
Yuri
I thought
Lowenthal,
that was
right?
pretty awesome. Sorry?
Yuri Lowenthal, I think that's his name.
Oh, okay. Let's look him up.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Lowenthal? Yeah.
Yeah, Lowenthal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I think he's doing his. He's been in Ben 10, that show.
Mm.
Let's see. But yeah, looking forward
Um.
to it. Look forward to the game.
Oh, that's another good point Randy brings up because it's coming out very close to a Call of Duty game and Red Dead 2. Well, Red Dead 2, I think is far away enough, Randy. Yeah, because I think when is Spider-Man releasing? Is it like beginning of September?
September 7th. Yeah.
Okay, it's beginning of September. Red Dead is end of October, right? Um, when is Call of Duty? I think it's like beginning of October, probably.
Call of Duty's beginning. Yes.
Beginning of October, yeah. I think it's far away enough from those games, like to be in a like a pretty safe spot. I think like September is a pretty safe spot.
Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot that comes up, but October to December or October and November more like is where like the really heavy hitters in terms of like sales come out. Like the
Mm,
the Activision and EA and Ubisoft produced games. That's when all
yeah.
of those come out, right?
That's true.
And you know what's really funny is the Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay, right? Um,
Yeah.
there's like a scene close to the end where the character he Arthur Morgan he does like they say in the next gameplay we'll reveal more details on Deadeye, right? So it shows him he's running and then he activates Deadeye and there's like three enemies hiding behind cover and he headshots the three of them, right?
Yeah.
I saw this someone edited that and they put the Rockstar logo, they put that over his head, right? And then the three guys hiding, they put Ubisoft, Activision, and EA,
Oh
and he headshots the
goodness.
three of them. Because yeah, Red Dead is just gonna destroy everything that comes
Yeah.
out this season.
Oh
I
man.
just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I had to
That's
mention that.
awesome.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it'll definitely get more recognition than God of War, but yeah, like Randy
Yeah, for
said,
sure.
the sales, it's it's still up in the air. We'll see. I do think it's very
Yeah.
likely that it'll be that successful.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh man.
Overall, good E3. Although there were definitely better years, but
Mm,
decent E3.
yeah.
Good game coming out. It's upcoming.
Mm.
It's very close, so look forward to playing it.
Oh
And
man.
yeah,
Randy just said something blasphemous. Can't have this. He didn't like the the Redemption 2 gameplay. Um, you know what? I don't want to get into it right now because we need a specific episode dedicated to that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll talk about that when we get there. When we get to that episode. I don't want to get into it right now, but yeah, I
Doom 2
loved it.
looks sick though.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. I don't know. I I'm not a fan of Doom, so I didn't really see that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the E3 it was all right. I just don't think it didn't measure up to E3 2016. That was the best. God of War was revealed.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
man.
was revealed.
Yeah.
Um, the Final Fantasy VII remake was revealed. They
Yeah.
had surprise after surprise in that for that E3.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's yeah, there was nothing nothing that came close to that. Yeah, the C3 was okay. Like it was entertaining. We got information on a lot of different games that we're looking forward to. There weren't a whole lot of surprises. Oh, there is something I have to mention that that freaking annoyed me, man. Okay. So I'm a big fan of Bloodborne, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping that Bloodborne 2 would be announced, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is after the conference is over, they go back to those PlayStation Access guys, and then they talk about a few other like small announcements and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they get to this, they're like, okay, they load up this trailer, right? And then first you see Sony Japan Studio, okay? Now here's the thing, keep this in mind. Bloodborne was co-developed by From Software and Sony Japan Studio, right?
Right.
So first you see Sony Japan, then you see From Software, and I'm like, wait, what is this? What is this? I got so excited when I saw this, right? And then it goes into the like the trailer, right? And the trailer, I don't know what it was. I was like it looked a little strange. It was basically showing this room, and I'm like, what is this? Is this the Hunter's Workshop or something like that? I had no idea what this was about, right? And then it turns out this is some stupid VR game. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like that was like the biggest tease ever. I
Uh,
thought this was Bloodborne 2. And it turned out to be, I don't even remember what the name of this game is. It's like some stupid VR game.
wow, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that's how irrelevant it is. But
Dang.
but yeah, I was like, what the hell? Sony Japan and FromSoft. What a troll. Like I,
Yeah.
I think when you asked me, you asked me to give the conference, like when we initially talked about it after the conference, you asked me to give it a score, right? And I said 7 out of 10. I said I was
Yeah.
gonna give it an 8 out, no, sorry, I said I'll give it a 6 out of 10 because I was initially gonna give it like a 7.5 out of 10, but then I took more points off because they trolled me with Bloodborne 2. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Let's see what
Alright, GG's.
let's see what Randy gave a summary of E3. Microsoft finally moved beyond cool dad status in the industry. Sony coasting on their sales and popularity. Nintendo still thinks E3 doesn't matter. Yeah, Nintendo or I don't want to get into Nintendo. I hate Nintendo. Screw
Yeah.
Nintendo.
I mean,
Um, yeah.
like I'd say yeah because like I hate from, but
Sorry, you got cut off. What do you say?
no, I just said like when I said yeah when you said like I don't hate Nintendo personally, but I understand where.
No, I used to be a fan of Nintendo. Up to the GameCube, and then I hated them after that
Why?
because they were just doing stupidness after that. Like that was the last like good like I think that was the last like normal console they came out with because
Oh, I see what you're
like it
saying.
was the last traditional console. The Wii was just some motion control mess. The Wii U was I don't know like some tablet for a controller, and then the Switch is literally just a tablet.
Well, the Wii actually did really well, man.
It did well, but I don't
Sold
like it.
more than
Yeah,
yeah.
like
It definitely sold more than PS3 and 360, but yeah, I know where you're coming from.
the reason the Wii did so well is because it captured the what is it, the
The market.
casual market, because
Oh my god, yeah.
like so many non-gamers and stuff bought a Wii. Like you had like grandmothers buying and stuff like that. So they did like they did a really good job capturing the uh, the casual market,
Yeah.
right? And based off that, that's what just led them to success with that, and they couldn't uh, do that again with the Wii U, and that's where they just dropped off, and you had this failure of a console for Wii U. The Switch is doing well, but I don't like it. I would never get one.
Yeah.
It doesn't appeal to me at all. Um, yeah.
I think yeah, I know like the like Wii was a last console. When you put it that way, it's very true.
Mm.
But the Switch is looking up to be, pretty good.
The GameCube was like it was the last like normal console that I really enjoyed and
Yeah.
had. I never bought a Nintendo console after that though. I used to like Nintendo a lot. Um,
Yeah, man.
like the first PlayStation console I had was PS3. I never had PS1 or 2 before that. So like I'd say I'm still a very recent Sony fan.
Mm,
um, yeah, before that I was a pretty big Nintendo fan.
yeah.
Um,
Right
anyways,
on.
I want to wrap up with one last quick topic.
Uh-huh.
Uh, PS5 and Xbox Scarlet.
Mm,
Um, okay, so what do you think? Given that we had a PS4 Pro that released in 2016, what
yeah.
do you think? Uh, like when do you think PS5 and the new Xbox will come out? I think this new Xbox, it has a code name of Scarlet. Like Xbox One X, its code name was Scorpio. So that was something that was actually
Yeah.
revealed, I think, by Microsoft, the Scarlet name. Um, actually, no, maybe not. I can't remember now. But anyways, like Microsoft has hinted towards next gen. I don't think Sony
Yeah.
has. So what do you think? When's it coming?
Um, because like going back to the PS3, well, their past eras, I guess, like they released a console like in the minimum span of like 8 to 10 years. Is that about right?
Like between a generation?
Yeah.
Um, see, it depends because the PS3 era was actually a lot longer than
Yeah.
the regular gens. I think
Oh, true.
I think I want to say it's about like 7 years, 7 to 8 between
Yeah.
generations. I think that's what the average is.
I just caught what EP just said. I'm thinking we'll have a 2021 release date at this point. I'm thinking 2020 or 2021 because if they're gonna release it really close with Microsoft, like the Xbox console, they of course want to like nab the consumers quickly before
Yeah.
Xbox. People just buy the Xbox first. But I think a lot of people are going to be smart to like, depending on how Xbox markets their new next gen console. I think they're going to be very smart in how
Mm,
they're going to um, like I think they should be very smart in regards to exclusives they're going to roll out. Because like in the beginning, the Xbox One did really well with the Master Chief Collection and everything, and the whole idea of like backwards compatibility and whatnot. But I think if Sony's either going to deliver like release their next gen console right when Xbox is, or a little bit after, just kind of like just even out the competition, and then they're gonna have like everybody just buy their console at the end. Um, but I know if one thing's for sure is they're definitely going to reveal it soon because Sony did announce that the
hmm.
PS4 is actually going into its like last cycle,
Yeah.
development cycle.
The thing is, I think Sony confirmed that they said something like they were gonna double down on PS4's first party titles up until 2021. That's what they said specifically. So it looks like the last set of like major PS4 titles look like it's gonna be 2021, right? Um,
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I'm thinking that same year is probably when the PS5 will come out,
Hmm.
right? Because if you look at it, right, I'm kind of comparing this to the previous gen, right? PS3's last like major titles came out in 2013. Like it ended off with Last of Us pretty much in terms of
True.
first party titles, right? Like some stuff came out in 2014, but they were all like cross-platform stuff. There was nothing like that was only for that gen. Like basically PS4 games that were on PS3 as well. Like the next Call of Duty, the Battlefield, Shadow of Mordor, all those games came out on
Yeah.
PS3 as well, right?
Yeah.
Did Shadow of Mordor come out on PS3 as well?
Not that
Okay,
I'm not sure about that one.
okay, sorry, I'm
To be
wrong about
honest.
that one. Um, Assassin's Creed Black Flag came out. Um, yeah, basically all these like a lot of third party games, but in terms of the first party support, it was done by 2013, right?
Mm,
And that very same year is when PS4 came out, like
yeah.
basically a couple months later. Actually, no, Last of Us came out in June 2013, and PS4 dropped November 2013. So okay, a few months.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it looks like that's what it's gonna be then. Like maybe the last of PS4's major titles are going to be 2021, and then that very same year is probably when uh, PS5 is gonna drop.
You know what, man? Like personally, I would not get a PS5
Hmm.
unless if I have a good reason enough to, because I don't want to get the PS5 and then like go through this dry phase. Like if there's gonna be exclusives coming out for it, I think I'm
Hmm.
gonna wait until there's like a good chunk of exclusives out for it.
Hmm.
But if PS5 supports PS4 uh backwards compatibility, it's gonna be a day one for me for sure.
Yes, me too. See,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like Brandy said too, like they have to address backwards compatibility. Yes, they need to. Backwards compatibility with PS4. I don't care about compatibility with PS3 and before that, just with PS4 games. And I think it should, because that's when they switched like that's the whole reason why like both the PS4 and the Xbox, they both use x86 architecture for their
Oh,
processors,
okay.
right? So it's a lot like closer to like development for PCs and all,
Yeah.
right? So, that's one of the best things about a PC. It's always backwards compatible no matter what, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
that sort of thing, like, because if that's why they've gone with that decision, if they go with the same processor architecture for the next gen consoles, right, which I'm pretty sure that's what they will do, right, then everything should be backwards compatible. Like a good example of this is you have the PS4 Pro, right? Now
Yeah.
let's just treat the PS4 Pro as if it was a new console as opposed to the regular PS4, right? Like it's something that has upgraded specs, but it uses the same processor architecture. So that's
Mm,
why like anything a PS4 can play, a PS4 Pro can play as well,
yeah.
right? So if you sort of use that same, if you look at it in that same way, right? The PS5 should be able to do that, right? Like
Yeah,
if
that's
if
true.
that's the route that they're going, right? And yeah, like you guys said, backwards compatibility is what I'll determine if I'm gonna get it like very early on, because I've been holding off on a PS4 Pro just for that reason.
Yeah.
Like I want to 4K, I want to do some 4K gaming, but I'm holding
Yeah.
off on it because PS5, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's the case, then like I don't want to get a PS4 Pro. I just want to get a PS5, right? And if it's
Well said.
backwards
Yeah.
compatible with PS4, that's perfectly fine with me. Like I can still play all these other games that I need to before
Mm,
like that are still on PS4, right? While, waiting for new games on PS5, right?
yeah.
Um I mean
Well,
2021 sounds plausible. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
no, I heard a notification. My bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
But no,
mean, mhm.
sorry, no, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, like Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding are probably like 2019 titles, right? So maybe we'll see maybe a couple more first party games in 2020. And
Yeah,
yeah, like Randy said, probably the earliest we'll see is like end of 2020, um,
gotcha.
which I think is fine because that like fits in because 2013 is when these consoles came out, right? So that's seven
Mm,
years um, from the release of the PS4. But the thing that sort of makes the difference between previous generations is that we got this mid-generation upgrade to the Pro and the Xbox One X, right?
yeah,
So I don't know how much of a factor that'll be in terms of affecting it, but you know, we'll see, I guess.
for sure, man. Yeah. In
Uh,
regards to
mhm.
the Xbox, you know what? Like, which console do you think will have the slighter edge? Personally, I'm gonna say PS4, unless which well, and I'll tell you why first. Because with this next gen console, they had the Xbox One, right?
Mm,
And then, which of course, the PS4 and the Xbox One aren't necessarily that different, as we have, like it uses the same architecture and everything. So in terms of development, it's almost similar, right?
mhm.
But The thing is, I think the mistake that Microsoft made was when they released the Xbox One. Reason being was because it's undoubtedly the most powerful console on the market right now. The
Yeah.
only issue is they didn't roll out a whole lot of exclusives or games to really,
Mm,
just to showcase that, right? So
yeah.
I think Microsoft played the best cards too early, and I think in regards to specs, I think Sony's going to come on top. However, if Microsoft, knowing Microsoft, and they do have the money to do this, if they want to compete with PlayStation and use a similar specs, if not try to get like up the ante, get the advantage, I
Hmm.
think they're going to spend a little too much, on development for the Xbox just for the sake of getting ahead of the competition. So I think on that part, it's really going to cost them a lot in the long run.
So when you say which one will have the edge, do you mean in terms of specs?
Specs, yeah,
Specs? I think Xbox will, because they've
yeah,
sort of that's what they're kind of obsessed with now. Like they're marketing the Xbox One X as the most powerful console in the world or something, right?
yeah,
Like that's how they're marketing it as, right? Um, but that's the thing. Like it's like they haven't had the games for it, and the thing is, all these announcements that they made of the new studios that they have, right, that they've
mm,
acquired. None of these, I don't think any of these new studios will have a game ready for Xbox One X. It's all going to be for the next gen.
yeah,
That's what I think. Maybe like maybe you'll get like one more first party game, like from these new studios, right, for Xbox One X, or maybe they'll do like cross-gen games, like it'll release on both of them. Like it'll release
right.
on Xbox One and whatever the next gen one is, right?
I see.
Scarlet,
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
sure.
yeah, the thing is, like Randy said, I think they've learned from the mistake they made with the initial reveal of the Xbox One,
Yeah,
of the whole like games as a service, TV, and all that stuff. Like it's just not gonna be well received, and I think they've learned that. So we'll see like how they kind of market it, but like I feel like a lot of people are going to be very careful with how they um they're going to be very careful when they like make the decision about which console to buy, because they want to see what Microsoft does, because Sony has, like, in the beginning of the gen, has been like heavily favored by the gamers, right? Because they've
yep,
been for the gamer, whereas Microsoft has been trying to make an entertainment box rather than a
yeah,
gaming console, right?
yeah, for sure.
So I don't think they'll make the same mistake again, and you know I hope Sony doesn't let the success of the PS4 get to their head and make something
Yeah,
stupid and just drop the ball. Because that's what they did with the PS3. Like the success, they were riding on the success of PS2, and then they made all these crazy decisions for the PS3, which was a disaster when it launched. Right? Wasn't
yeah,
it? Wasn't it like $700 or something? Like when it
yeah.
launched?
Originally, like it's priced as like 800. Yeah,
Yeah, which is ridiculous, right? And like it
yeah.
barely had any games going for it. It was so hard to develop. So, the PS3 was more powerful than the Xbox 360, but Xbox 360 had the better looking third party games because
Oh
PS3
yeah,
was so hard to develop for, because they used
yeah,
that cell processor, um, that
yeah.
sort of architecture, right? And really, like even up to the end of the generation, Xbox 360 games looked better in terms of like the third party games. Like
Oh yeah,
it took like studios like Naughty Dog to show the actual power of what a PS3 is capable of, right?
yeah,
But that's because it was so hard to develop for, so you can't blame the third party developers, right?
yeah, yeah,
So, hopefully they don't do something stupid like that.
yeah.
Oh man,
I like what EP just said. The PS3's launch changed the industry. Oh
it did. You know the thing is, like, um what's his name? Gabe Newell, the
yeah, yeah,
the head of Steam.
yeah. Valve, Steam, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, not Steam. Valve. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Valve. He called. He said that the PS3 was a failure and was a disgrace of a console that nobody should ever like develop for. Like that's what he actually said, like when it came out and stuff, right? So
Wow.
so you can see how much of a disaster that thing was, and like it made it, it took a long time for it to turn around and overtake Microsoft. It took like 6, 7 years into the
Oh yeah.
generation. I think it was only like 2012 is when it actually overtook Xbox 360 in terms of sales.
Yeah.
Um, and really, the reason for that is they had the games. You know, they had the
Yeah, for
games, they
sure.
have the international appeal and everything, right? Whereas the Xbox
Yeah.
brand doesn't have a very good international appeal.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the next gen, we'll have more to talk on this like when we get more information. Probably like, maybe next year we'll get some more information on what we can sort of expect for next gen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for now, I think that's all we can really say on next gen. Got anything else to add?
Yeah. That's about it on my end.
That's about it. Okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna wrap up this very long podcast, which I was expecting to be 1.5 hours, but it's almost 3 hours now. I'm just looking at
Yeah.
the OBS timer. It's 2 hours 54 minutes right now, which is crazy, man. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the reason for it being so long is we haven't done an episode in a really long time, so we had a
Mm.
lot of things to cover. Like normally I would have E3 being just its own episode, right? But we had to talk about God of War, of course, and then
Oh yeah.
these like smaller events like the IGN reviewer thing, next gen stuff. We had to address all that stuff. So yeah, man, good podcast, good episode. Um, you want to tell the people that don't know your channel what it's all about? What do you stream about yourself?
Oh, I mean, we we pretty much just stream from like single player games to multiplayer games. We just kind of play whatever we all not feel like playing, but whatever we just play, get our hands on. Very we try to go for user interactive experiences and just good vibes, man.
Like, what are you playing right now that people can expect to see you streaming?
Uh, right now, currently playing through Persona 5, but I'm also going to start playing through Team Fortress 2 and Dead by Daylight. There's also going to be another surprise game that we're going to be playing. Hence, in order to just to kind of build up the hype for the new Spider-Man game. So look
Mm,
forward to that. Yeah.
cool, cool,
So yeah.
good stuff. And as for me, if you're watching this on Twitch right now, uh, check out my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out my Twitch channel. Yeah, I haven't been streaming as often lately just because I've been so busy with work. It's really hard to find the time these days, but I'd like to get back to a more regular schedule. And I know I mentioned that every time I stream
Mm,
as well. But, more streams coming up hopefully soon. Uh, we'll see. Uh, maybe sometime this week we'll have another stream. But yeah, I mean, I'm basically trying to catch up on a variety of different games. Um, just really before Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out.
yeah.
Gonna be playing and streaming that a lot. Very, very excited for that.
Nice.
But hey, if you don't know Z's twitching, make sure you go follow this guy. This guy has some really good content that he streams. A lot better than some of these, really big name streamers, the famous ones and all.
Wow.
This guy has so much better like presentation skills, and he constantly communicates with his chat. He always does a great job with it. I think he's recently passed 250 followers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on his way. Get him to 1,000. And yeah, this guy always gives it his all for his streams. Highly worth checking out if you don't know his channel.
Appreciate the plug, man. Damn.
Yeah, anytime, man. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. We are nearing the end of almost 3 hours streamed. But yeah, we'll have more streams soon. Podcast episodes, we need to have those a lot more often as well. You know, I've got something interesting in mind for the next episode. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, until then, thank you very much for watching, guys. Especially for those that stayed for the full 3 hours. Much appreciated. But yeah, thank you for watching. You guys take care. We'll see you later.